enemy player goes unchecked.
What's up, everyone? We're back. Open qualifiers are over and done with, and we're moving on to close. We've got our top 16 teams remaining. I'm Crow, and I'm joined by Golumolu once again. How are you doing, Ben?
Really well. I'm looking forward to seeing the top of the teams, right? We've kind of whittled away some of the teams that might have struggled earlier on, and now we get to see, in theory, some nice close matches, best of 3 now as well. So a little bit more excitement in the map, a little bit more variation. So we did get to see some fun ones throughout the qualifier, a little bit of skyscraper run in there as well, but
That was cool.
you know what? Now we get to see just a little bit more. The teams have to go a little bit deeper into their map pools for us today.
Yeah, and speaking of the teams, these are our top 16. So the way it's seeded is, of course, cross seeding. So first seed gets placed against the 16th, second gets placed against 15th, and so on. So LSR against Young Studs, Somali Pirates versus Big Fans in the first bracket, Able Esports versus Citizens Arrest, and Homeland versus EQ 3.0 in the second bracket. The third, Above the Law versus Average Joes, Lycus versus S2, and in the fourth, Velas, HK Rebels, and Turbo & Co. Frijoles. Now, Ben, I know you're not terribly familiar with all of these teams. You got a little bit more familiar yesterday and the day before, casting on both the A stream with me and on the B stream for SFCL. Who do you have as favorites right now?
Oh, this is all right. This is going to be a bit of a fumble, but we'll just run through a couple names that I of purely what we know we're going to see later on. Okay, I've been hearing a lot about the JJ curse, and as much as I want to believe it, you know what? There's a first time for everything, and this is the time. We're going to see LSR make it through this round. They're going to get into round 2. That's guaranteed. There's no shot they lose that one. The next matchup. We'll go with the Pirates. The Big Fans, I saw a little bit of them playing yesterday. I want to say it was on Villa. They looked alright. They looked pretty good against Lycus Empire, I believe they were playing. But I think Somali Pirates will take that one. Average Joe's better name, better team. This is the interesting one for me. Lycus Empire, S2 Esports. Alright. The thing for me here is that we saw that, we covered at the start of yesterday that LSR Lycus Empire game, right? The 2 undefeated teams coming into day 2. And I was convinced we were going to see an absolute nail-biting game, but they kind of got swept under the rug. They've still made it through to this day, and for that reason, I have some faith in them. But S2 Esports, you can move up to the next round as well, so it'll be them against the Joes. The other side of the board. Okay, right. We're going for this one again. Citizens Arrest, Able Esports. Do you want to play a game of rock paper scissors for this one?
Let me look at their roster. Citizens Arrest and Able Esports. Where the heck are Able? I can't. Oh, okay. Able Esports, Storms, QAS, Scorp, Bosack, and Eggsoul. Citizens Arrest, Scoob, Needles, Trist, Kale, BJL. So a lot of big T3 names on Citizens Arrest, but Able Esports also, I think, only lost 1 game in the open quals.
Alright, I'm going to give it to Able Esports just because they have Bosak, and that name kind of looks like Bosk. So, that's a little bit biased going in there, but you know what?
Bosk? Like the Star Wars?
Like the lizard
character?
guy from Star Wars.
Okay,
yeah.
Alright.
That's the deciding factor in this one. Closest to a Star Wars name. Homeland, they take it. Boys was a pretty good show. Favelas versus HK Rebels. This is another interesting one for me because I've heard a little bit about this HK Rebels team. They've been kind of a little bit of the rumor going around. Was able to catch bits of their game in between falling in and out of sleep. I think the Favelas, just the name, the fact that they were in the invited qual on the first day on Tuesday, I think there's that extra fire for them pushing to make it through the qualifier. For that reason, I'm going to give it to them. And Turbo & Co. versus Frijoles.
What?
Frijoles?
Frijoles, bro. It's Spanish.
Frijoles?
It's Spanish. It's Spanish for beans.
Oh, well, if it's Spanish for beans, then they take this.
Okay, alright.
That's the official prediction.
I'm gonna have to disagree.
Please, feel free to correct me.
I gotta disagree on Average Joe's Above the Law. That one in particular, I looked at the rosters. I don't know a single person on Average Joe's. I cannot lie. I don't know who the hell these guys are. Whereas Above the Law are Jolt, Shpai, Morocco, Badger, Shiba. And I love Shiba. I love Brandon, so I gotta go with them. Otherwise, I agree. No, actually, I think Turbo and Co beat Frijoles. So one of the reasons why I also agree with Favelas over HK Rebels is just Favelas is a Challenger League roster. Turbo and Co are also like basically a Challenger League roster. I feel like they're just gonna they've looked pretty damn strong. And Frijoles again, a lot of people I don't really know. They've got a couple players I'm familiar with if I can find their freaking roster. Stun, Native, Placata, Dolly, Anti. So I know Dolly. But I know more people. I know more people on the other roster. So concerning who actually makes it into the league, I think we can both agree that LSR are probably going to beat Somali Pirates.
I think so.
I think that's a reasonable conclusion. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are predicting that JJ breaks the qual curse.
It happens today.
It's bold. It's bold. Able Esports Homeland. That's a tough one. I think Able wins because, again, they only lost one game in the entirety of the open quals. They actually handed LSR their only loss. And, I mean, it's a Frenchie stack. So, I mean, it's hard to bet against. I think Storms is on the resurgence. He's on his revenge arc after being dropped from one shot. So I say Able Esports are the next to make it in. Above the Law S2 Esports. That's kind of a tough one. I don't know.
If you're tied on this one, I think the correct thing is for me to weigh in on this one. And you know what? I think there's a certain benefit to getting that first stream game to moving on into the next round. So for the reason that S2 seem a little bit fun, seem a little bit feisty, I'm gonna go with S2 Esports. S2 Esports are the other team to qualify. They're the third.
We can do it. We do it based off names too, like we did with the other match when we were deciding.
Remember, that is also true. Actually.
So above the Law is Jolt, Spy, Morocco, Badger, and Shiba. S2 is Reverse, Wi-Fi, Amp, TPA, and Pack Rat. Oh, and I actually know TPA is not playing today. They are subbing in Kino from XSET.
Well, okay. I think everyone who's played like my favorite card game, Magic the Gathering, will know that Pack Rats, the more you have, the stronger they are. Pack Rat wins it. So S2, they take it.
You're a Magic player? Oh my god,
yeah,
I haven't played Magic.
Magic the Gathering's a brilliant game.
It is fun. I remember playing like at lunch in high school all the time. And then Favelas Turbo and Co.
I think Favelas take this one. I think they just push it through.
So they
again, like I just think it's the revenge tour. They make it, and then so that would make it LSR. What was it? Able we said for the second one.
Yeah, Able for the second.
S2 and Favelas. Got it there.
See, because I know a couple teams also changed their substitutes. Like after yesterday, with some teams getting eliminated. Like I saw Doug from Achieve, or sorry, not from Achieve. Doug from I think one of the other teams that didn't qualify was something like on a listed as a sub for a different team. I want to check. What are we looking at? Favelas and whoops, I highlighted the whole page instead of the search bar. Turbo and Co. All right, Turbo and Co. is Turbo, Rethinkin, Psychosis, Karn, and Mikey. Oh, Psychosis wasn't. Well, the match we casted of them was Turbo, Rethinkin, Karn, Mikey, and Hat.
Yeah.
And are they the ones playing with Gasher? I can't remember. And Favelas are Arrow, Spirit, Slothy, Rudy, and Brios. I think Karn. I can't lie. I love Tyler Arrow. I love the guys on the Favelas. But I think Carnage B on entry is just different. I think they're gonna take it. So there you have it. If this doesn't happen, then the teams are wrong, and they've trolled us.
Yeah, exactly. They clearly just weren't given the script ahead of time. And you know what? That's okay. Look, we get errors sometimes. We're just handing them out. Sometimes the printers just stop working a little bit early. You run into that paper jam error. But apart from that, they should have gotten the memo on how they're supposed to play out their games today.
Yeah, and we are gonna we can now discuss, I guess, have on stream Lycus Empire versus S2 Esports. They played yesterday. Lycus Empire actually won in Max OT 8-7 on Chalet. So we'll find out where we're going today. Just a reminder, these are best of threes. Clubhouse, Cafe, Border, Oregon. Oh my god, Club in Oregon banned right off rip. I'm getting high hopes for what we're about to play. The first two picks, S2 with their map choice. I'm praying it's Sky! Sky and Bank!
Okay.
I'm already excited. We got two fire maps. Normally, I don't like Bank, but I'm excited for this Bank in particular. With how I saw these two teams playing yesterday, very kind of opposite styles. I think it'll make for an exciting Bank. And of course, we're left with our decider. The next two bands, what do we have? We have Villa Theme and Chalet. So the map they played yesterday that Lycus ended up winning 8-7 is going to be our map 3.
Which just adds to the drama should we reach it, right? Losing 8-7 is gutting. That is always such a rough thing to overcome. So to come back onto it a day later, if we see it, it will be interesting to see if they've kind of rebuilt themselves. But 8-7 means that any of those rounds go slightly differently. You win that map instead. Maybe you close it out beforehand. So you know what? I think that's all right to return to, right? If they'd been like 7-0 or something, then I would steer a little bit clear of it. And we saw Lycus just choosing not to go to any of those maps. Not gonna name Villa in particular, but keeping the rest of the thing clear.
Yeah, and of course, the SFCL stream is on as well. They're casting they're going to the top right of the bracket. They're doing EQ 3.0 versus Homeland, which we had predicted Homeland winning. So if you want to see who ends up winning that, you can go to twitch.tv/SFCL. Of course, there's always those, multi-Twitch extensions. So you can watch both streams at the same time if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with just getting that extra perspective. It's like when you see the cams when there's like last Premier League day, right, and all the games are going on at the same time, and you have the cuts between them as things unfold. It's kind of like that, but you get a little bit more control over it. So if you want to have a little bit more choice, one of the games is a rehost or something, so as it tends to happen with Siege sometimes, you're able to just jump on over, switch over the audio, and enjoy a bit more Siege action in the downtime. But hopefully there will be very little of that today. I'm going to come back again. We're going to manifest 0 rehosts all day. Everything's going to work perfectly. Servers keeping intact for us. Do you not believe?
I don't know. I don't know if I do. I hope. It would be great.
We hope.
But okay. I think it's a long shot. And it seems like we have all 10 players now in the lobby. I see Ozone also changed. I don't know, when did Ozone change his name? It used to be El Jefe Ozone. Now it's Don Ozone. And I'm going to clarify, right, even before we even load into the lobby, there's going to be a player on S2 named S0M.Exet. That's Kino. I don't know why. I don't know why that's his name, but it is. And we're going to go ahead and load right into Skyscraper. One of my favorite maps in the pool. Skyscraper is never boring. And we did see, okay, we casted, I don't know if it was us, but I casted Lycus Empire on this map yesterday. Who did they play?
Oh, they played Big
Was
Fans?
It Big Fans?
It was Big Fans.
Yeah.
7-4, I want to say.
You're right. Lycus played Big Fans on this map and they won 7-4. And it was not a bad game from Lycus at all. I think Aggro having a really standout performance. Candelar 6 up there with him. And we had a clutch from Ozone, the 1v2. So we'll see how S2 stack up on a map that Lycus looked pretty good on last time we saw them. The first 3 bands come out: Nook, Thatcher, Valkyrie. Pretty damn normal. Cade as well. Not a lot to talk about But, well, not a lot to talk about concerning the bans themselves because they're all very normal, but we can talk about who that leaves up. All 4 hard breachers, Azami, Mira.
I mean, the one I'm excited that's been left in play is the Monty. And I think this is one of the maps where I'm an avid shield enjoyer. I think if you can bring out the Monty on this map, it can work pretty well. I mean, we've seen it in NAL, right? Teams running this Monty and Osa combination. Wi-Fi is rocking the Osa, but that's the only one of the two that they're bringing out. And just being able to hold some of these longer angles with those shields, being able to push in quite comfortably on these tight angles, especially around the balcony going towards the top of Black Stairs, that can help you out, right? Getting that space, getting that control, forcing that defense a little bit further back, while you kind of set yourselves up to move on into Disco to get that plant down. But I clearly was not manifesting hard enough, Bro, because
No.
we've made it. We made it 15 seconds.
Yep.
But
Instant crash.
yeah. But there is still the B stream, and the B stream, well, they've got some action. So we're gonna throw over to the B stream while we sort this out.
For EQ3 as it turntables here for Homeland. They're not able to start off the round with an opening pick, and there is no trade to come of it. So EQ3 will have the advantage here in the beginning half of this attacking round.
EQ3 with that free pick are just going to have to slow down the remainder of this attack and make sure they take advantage of the great work that Duke has done early. But Ivan is just going to slip through the cracks of the attacking information and find that refrag, late as it may be, on to Z, and that is your Yana down. Both nades in pocket and a very strong gun to go with it.
Well, there won't be any more of those grenades on the board, at least from the pockets of Z, but Zach, the other Z in the lobby, will. And so they've still got a couple of nades, and there's the ability to clear out any utility that might be set up here by the defense. But Homeland has a rather anchor-based lineup now, as well. They've got the Miras and they've got the Goyo Volcan canisters, and those canisters will last for over 20 seconds, just sitting there and wasting as much time. Ivan going to try to recreate their play by walking out of Archives and into S1, but they elect to think better of it and will fall back inside. But again, they're still thinking about making this play. Haiku will begin to pop that hatch into stock as, well, EQ3's attack has been rather slow. They've only got a minute left in the round, and their headway has not been as fast as previous. Zach now looking to find their way in open area, and Duke has done so as well. So effectively, most of the roam has been taken care of, except for Ivan, who still remains in this Archives position. They're able to bring down Semi and might look to do more damage. Zach will eventually bring down the roaming Vigil, so it all boils out to a 3v3 even advantage, but the time certainly in the favor of Homeland.
All the map control needed has been secured by EQ3, and it looks like they are going to go towards this blue side to work their plant. Haiku getting the wall open here. Duke with him in servers, holding down the long angle now. But these Vulcan canisters, this Miro window, are going to be a final boss to battle. You are going to have one in the hatch above, and Zach's going to find not one, but two from the hatch. A well-timed grenade joined with a quick spray from that beautiful, beautiful sledge weapon is going to close out the round. Another one for EQ3, as clean as you like, Clemps.
Wow. The nades were off the board from the Yana, but like we were talking about earlier, Zach still had them, and the defenders did not take into account that open area hatch being opened up, and the access to the red hall for the attack was levied, and simply Zach able to sit up there and cause some serious damage to the rest of the defenders. The Goyo Vulcan was popped, and the round was not won by planting the objective, but rather kills. And that's exactly what needed to happen for EQ3. They spent so much time on that roam clear. It took them for what seemed like forever to get to the control that they needed, but eventually it ended up working out in their favor. They picked off the last few Homeland attackers, and they've taken their second round in a row here on Big. Homeland now electing to go upstairs. They've got a change of thought and a change of sight. They're on the upstairs defense now. They're bringing out the Castle, the Warden, and very common operators here for an upstairs defense. Jaeger as well, someone we don't see as often here. More likely than not, you'll see a Wamai, but a shield has been positioned in the open area hallway, such that janitor, that slant hallway, and that's a power position here. Is it makes it so much more difficult to push top square.
an entirely stylistically different site, the top floor versus the bottom, where instead of relying on map control to keep attackers at bay, you are instead setting up these long and dangerous lines of sight for operators like the castle, like the warden, to use.
And we're back with Lycus Empire versus S2 Esports. We had an instant crash once we loaded into round number 1. Hopefully, not going to have that issue again. But of course, because we loaded into the lobby, same site, same operators, at least for the defense. The attackers, though, can still switch around. And I'm surprised that Lycus Empire, we talked about Azami and Mira both being up, and they're not running either of them.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I think Mira's one that I've seen conversation on both sides of. I think traditionally on Skyscraper, even before the rework, having that Mira playing instead of Geisha, being able to control some of these long lines of sight, especially when you can oftentimes expect teams to go for this kind of black stairs take, where they try and get control of the top, use these Osha shields to cut off your rotations between the two sites. I am expecting, though, S2 to instead go for a more horizontal take, right? You want to come across through office first, and that's just to get your basic footing, take control of Dragon, and kind of force the defenders back into sight before you get access into T-Room through that breach by the drop. Even for that, though, an Azami can be really nice at just slowing things down.
With them trying to slow things down, though, S2 Esports have a couple operators that'll help them speed things up. The Dokkaebi, of course, going to assist that roam clear. They've got the Ying to shove themselves into sight. And Wi-Fi is bringing the Osa, which means it's probably going to be a T-side push. Don't really see too much Osa play when you're going for karaoke, but I could be proven wrong. Right now, S2 Esports setting up outside delivery downstairs. There is a defender ready and waiting to meet them. It's aggro downstairs with a suppressed MP5K. Misses a lot of shots with this primary. Now pulls out the SMG-11, but loses the fight to Kino. The NAL player strikes first.
Well, that's the kind of thing you want to bring him in for, right? You get in, you get those aggressive plays, and you start picking up frags. He's going to collect himself a second onto Ozone as well, trying to come down the house stairs to maybe sneak and stab this attack from S2 in the back. Ultimately, it's not worked for him. That puts them even further on the back foot as, well, now Kino trying to draw this angle up towards the top of Dragon. The call's going through him, and they should be aware of Candle's positioning.
Right behind this shield, no one challenging him just yet. And now with S2 Esports, the kill onto the Mute and the Bandit, they can push in safely knowing that there's no more C4 potential. The nade goes through, it blows up the shield, but Kino doesn't expect the push-up. Amp gets a refrag on Cryptix, though, making it a 4 versus 2, and both these last defenders very isolated. One still stuck in Dragon. Woo's trying to hold down sight as Candle R6 finally hits the floor, and he's finished off by Reverse. Woo's now in karaoke. Lots of floor holes to play with, but they can be used by the attack as well. He'll reveal his location with those shots. Now coming under pressure, blinded by the Ying, eating damage, and finally killed by Reverse. S2 with a dominant first round.
That is an unenviable position to be in, right? You just see the drones spot him out, and all the utility floods in. There's no way you're getting a nice gunfight there, especially in a 4 versus 1, where they're so well spread out that you just don't stand a chance. There's not really much you can do about that one. But the first round going in favor of S2 Esports is a nice clear from the far side, right? You're going open into Samurai, trying to take control of Office first, and playing 4 below was quite nice to see, right? You have that Mute lurking around, has the Nitro cell available to him, and the information you can gather of some of these default cams, you don't want to lose out early picks. Shutting him down, and, I mean, I have to say, that second onto Ozone kind of sealed things on that side of the map, because at that point, Lycus definitely looked like they were on the back foot.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Ozone decided to go for the refrag there. I would have probably just cut my losses and gone back upstairs, because Kino, obviously on top of things, really good job for S2, so really not losing much, at least not yet, subbing out TPA. But that downstairs clear, and then beautifully rotated back upstairs, the Ying coming into play and having a big effect on the round. And S2 just looked like all their pieces came together. The only thing we didn't really get to see used was the Osa. So if we go back to that tea and barbecue, we have yet to see how that execute is going to go down. And that's not only an unknown for us, but it's also going to be an unknown for Lycus as well. Because the clear went so well, and because the Ying worked so well, S2 didn't have to use their Osa, and so Lycus might not be prepared for that next T defense either.
Yeah, I think they might have had them positioned on that balcony outside of the top of Black Stairs. It looked like that was where they were playing around, and I guess just using a Talonite early on into the round just to, I don't know, try and temper any aggression. You can see the feet holes there. Maybe you can try and catch someone out playing inside of Karaoke. Not that I think they're likely to overstep, right? I think Lycus generally playing pretty carefully inside of the site. But if they can avoid taking these early losses, the setup that they had to kind of peel away the oncoming aggression from S2 was set up quite well. They had the deployable shields, they had the ADSs in the positions where you want to kind of control these chokes in the map. But ultimately, again, it was just losing out downstairs, and they don't want to return to the same site this time, Crow. Instead, they're going to choose to go just a little bit below to the barbecue and kitchen.
Ozone has now rejoined the lobby. He was the player that had originally disconnected. Just took him a little bit getting back. But like you said, barbecue and kitchen, the bomb site right underneath where they just defended. And Ozone is going to crash again. Do they get another? Yep. Do they get another? I guess they get another rehost, I think.
That's unfortunate.
I don't know. Sucks because he was playing a Rooney too, which is important. That's not an operator that you can just forego. But while we get the lobby completely set up again, while we get Ozone back in the lobby and hopefully get him to fix his game, we'll go back to the B stream so you're not losing out on any action.
To Ashmain there from Duke, when you say, I mean, just an absolute.
It's cheaper to succeed.
Yeah, but it's the thought. It's not.
I'll give it.
Not the paintbrush. It's the painting, not the paintbrush. You know, it's a very similar result, I would say, to a vintage Ashmain, and I appreciate your correction. But still, regardless, Duke. I mean, okay, maybe he got a little offended that we are giving Haiku so much credit for their previous success, so he wanted to step in and be like, hey, by the way, since the rehost, I'm 8-1, so I just wanted to remind you that I'm still here. And hey, message received. And unfortunately, for the side of Homeland there, I think that defense fell apart as soon as your Wamai, your only source of utility denial, was your first pick, right? We saw, I mean, in the hands of Ivan, what do you expect? That guy is apparently just an absolute crackhead. He's going to find early gunfights whenever he can find them. And when you're on the Wamai, when you're on a gadget that generates over time, your impact, your worth increases as the round goes on. So staying up is paramount. And you saw how big an impact that had, just him dying early, because the Ash was able to just walk up Spiral and deal with that shield on the long desk immediately. Just one Ash charge, that shield is gone, and the power position for the defense is now turned into a spot of weakness. He was able then to just go and just completely pick apart the remaining 4 Homeland defenders, despite the denial of the flawless round. It still was about as close as you could get.
Well, EQ3, they've been winning their gunfights, and certainly Haiku and Duke, 2 players to name that have done so much damage here to the Homeland defense. Losing 4 rounds in a row is tough, and losing that start certainly won't help. Snipey will get the refrag on his Z, so essentially 2 players will die immediately, but Semi will take down Raki. It's the 3rd bomb site that Homeland is trying to defend, and well, they only have 3 members left as they've struggled so much here on their bank defense. EQ3 with the advantage early on in the round, and Semi again will take down Cohen as they lose out their gunfight now, and Semi again trying to get aggressive. They're going to get tagged down to 1 HP. Eventually, Snipey will win out that duel, but they still have to kill this player in open area and on just 1 HP. Snipey is certain to die soon. They will fall to Zach, and it's all left down to Zez. Deja vu from the basement in a 1v3.
EQ3 showing that they do not need that Jackal to deal with a roam. They are doing a phenomenal job of isolating and then dispatching of these Homeland defenders who are just trying to find these early gunfights, and sometimes they're finding them pretty well and they're just losing. But Zez now is going to have to win not 1 but 3 in a row. He finds 1 but is immediately picked up, and clean round yet again. I sound like a broken record, but EQ3 are just making it look oh so smooth.
I want to retract my statement from earlier about EQ3 maybe not playing as much as a team as Homeland I would have expected, at least. I think EQ3 has played 10 times the team that Homeland has been so far in this matchup. Homeland, they've been on their own pretty much in every single engagement they take. There's no refrag capabilities from them. They're not swinging together. They're not playing as a team. EQ3, on the other hand, though, just as showcased in that final kill cam, you saw Zach able to refrag their teammate Duke, who, well, maybe they got a little overzealous and ended up jumping down the marble stairs. It seems like a tendency that Duke loves to do is Goomba stomp from the ceilings above, but they do fall, a refrag from Zach, and that's exactly how it should be done. And going back to the round where, well, Haiku clutched, that's what Homeland should have done. They should have been positioned together to get those refrags, and EQ3 right now, they're showing that they're the better team.
We talked about Bank being a mildly attacker-sided map, and it's going to have to be an incredibly attacker-sided map for Homeland to bring this one back. They still have one chance at making something happen on the defensive end, and it looks like they might play a little bit more reserved. We're kind of seeing a final evolution of their base or defense. First time we saw some roam, and then a little bit of denial, and the second time we saw a little bit more denial, and then this time we got the Goyo, we got the Mira, and we have the Maestro, all there to try to deny that late round plant.
Oh no.
But unfortunately, it seems as though those Miras are no longer going to be operable, as the smart pick from Duke there, getting those Twitch drones in the site, are going to deal with those Mira windows pretty early, at least one. I'm not sure if they got both, but I definitely heard at least one, at least the one that's going to be a real stickler, which is that red hall one for this EQ attack.
The EQ attack, ever so scary. Snipey will kick it off, and they'll bring down Zach, so it's a good start for them, but Snipey running around like a headless chicken inside a CEO will be cut down by Z. Semi will take a lot of damage there in lobby, as well, they've been in an engagement with Ivan, and usually Semi is to win out that battle. Ivan, though, wanting to prove different. Back to Locker's defense is Homeland, so they've got plenty of ground to fall back on should they choose to leave their positions. Ivan's still hanging out on bottom square, will begin their path of walking up square, but instead it falls on back. Semi in this position in lobby on just 1 HP, taking cover behind the pillar, but now has their teammate of Duke to help them out in this clear, as he will work their way down the marble stairs. Might be able to catch a defender, but no, they've fallen all the way back down into garage just outside of the door. Ivan, all alone on their roam, will end up falling in archives, so Jaeger no longer on the board, and with 60 seconds left, Homeland look like they are in shambles right now. EQ3 on the attack. Sure, Semi is 1 HP, and yeah, Raki, you've got those Goyo Volcan canisters, but EQ3 has more men than you.
This denial-heavy setup is going to have to work out extremely well for Homeland here in these last 30 seconds, as Zez aggressively holding one of these hatches, trying to find a pick, trying to even out this man count, but EQ3 ever patiently is just not going to give him the gunfight he so desperately wants. Duke, with a little bit of info now, is going to start working down these main stairs, trying to play a little bit of cutoff here as EQ3 slowly surrounds this site, but it might be too slow now with only 10 seconds left. Raki finds one onto Haiku. Duke, though, coming down the main stairs, finds another one onto Zez, finds another one onto Koyan, and now it's a 1v3 for Raki. He's just praying that the plant doesn't go down, but Z sniffs out the remaining defender just a little bit. The spider senses were tingling, and it was a lot closer than I think it needed to be, but EQ3 get the result nonetheless.
Maybe they just want to win the route or the map without planting. I'm not too sure. But EQ3, a flawless attacking half on Bank. Homeland clearly choosing the wrong side to start off on EQ3's map pick. They feel very comfortable on Bank, and well, that has been displayed here through the first 6 rounds, but now it's Homeland's turn to attack. However,
All right, so that took a bit longer than expected, but Ozone's back in the lobby once again. If you forgot what happened, S2 Esports destroyed any chance, any semblance of a roam that Lycus had put together, and then executed on site with a Ying, and there was not a lot the anchors could do. So it's 1-0. We only got through 1 round, and now it's Barbecue Kitchen coming out for Lycus.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they choose to hold onto this site, right? You're expecting that hold above, trying to buy as much time as possible with how much of the floor from above looking down into kitchen and barbecue is soft. Rotations inside a site, and will be interesting to see where exactly they're choosing to locate themselves. But aggro on that bandit, the warden coming out, perhaps expecting that Ying to re-emerge. Though for the time being, S2 Esports changing off of that. They had Dokkaebi, going to grab Pack Rat on that ace instead. A little bit safer, right? You just want to have that hard breach, be able to get access to these important walls when you make your way in.
10 seconds left. 5 seconds remaining.
Wonder how many people are they leaving? 3 upstairs?
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Oh, 4 upstairs. So there's 1 anchor. And I have to imagine it's probably Cryptics on the smoke. 1 anchor is
makes
always a
sense.
bit dangerous.
Defender has been discovered.
But Candle R6 gonna start things off well for his team. Kino down early. The pro player dead first. A lot of utility off the board. Your second set of nades. Now you've only got 1 in the pocket of Wi-Fi. And so much info, especially too with the Iana clone now dead. Those Aruna gates might be slightly harder to clear.
All just jostling around the deployable shield. Zofia able to walk through, so reverse moving now towards reception. Will have another angle to go for, but you can see the Aruni dropping down towards the bathroom, just recognizing this push coming in from stock and wanting to be able to reinforce Cryptics in this position, especially if they can dislodge this shield sometime soon. It doesn't look like there's an ADS position further forward to catch it, so the Ash should be able to deal with it in pretty good time. The rest of the team still taking space upstairs. You can see the drones flying through, a little fleet of them, just to make sure they're not losing any picks too early on. As Reverse now very close on this T doorway.
Is the player on the other side? No. It's Candle R6, the man who spawn peeked earlier, holding this doorway. He is cognizant of someone possibly being in that position. Reverse, though, if he walks in, he'll be walking through that Aruni gate, so he needs to wait for it to clear. But no, he's just going to go on in and it catches Candle R6 completely off guard. Reverse gets the late refrag. Man count is even. Now the attack is going to be tasked with clearing Geisha, but the anchor player goes down. That's terrible for Lycus. They'll have to replace him. It looks like it's going to be Ozone, leaving the Jaeger and the Bandit upstairs.
Just trying to rotate into a better position. Ash is downstairs, not pushing too far into sight in close proximity, but this player on Geisha window trying to cause some problems for them. Woo's able to deal with that threat and bring it back to the 3 versus 3 as Ozone lands a second of his own. That's Packrat, the Ash, down as well. So now the remaining 2 players for S2 Esports are upstairs. Oh, looks like Twitch is actually going down, and so is Zofia as I say that. So just choosing to focus on the site instead. The diffuser in the hand of that Twitch, but Ozone playing so close on the cabinet here, watching for the head height holes. The rotation from Twitch doesn't quite get caught out. Zofia holding this doorway, just preventing the rotation coming through as the plant goes down in the doorway. They're just waiting for the push to swing. He's going to go round. The Nitrocell blowing up above the Zofia, but it's not quite enough. As Aruni going through the rotate gets caught out by Reverse. And now, well, it's a 2 versus 2. Aggro and Woo's. Woo's taking a little bit of damage, but it's down to the GSG9. Woo's finds 1. Aggro finds a second immediately afterwards. And Lycus Empire playing from above, using the verticality, win the round out. If they can find the diffuser, guys.
He's seen it. He already saw it. It's in the
Guys?
corner. All right, there we go.
Okay.
Jesus. So, good retake from Lycus. I like the adaptation from S2 to just go for the bomb site, seeing that there's not a lot of vertical play established for the defense to play off of to counter a plant and barbecue, but losing bodies on the execute. Wi-Fi dying on Geisha window. Packrat alone downstairs on the site. Ozone winning his 1v1 and alleviating most, if not all, of that site pressure. And Reverse has to try and figure something out with Amp. They get the plant down, sure, but they're kind of stuck in those corners, and Amp dies on the retreat, leaving Reverse alone. He was 1 HP. It would have been pretty tough to win that no matter what, but Aggro just had that tiny little angle to look down on that ended up besting the Zoe. So, Lycus Empire recover in that round. We tie the score 1-1, but they're not going to try T again. Instead, they'll go to the opposite top floor site. Yeah,
this will be interesting to see how it plays out. I guess, I've always kind of liked this way of doing things for teams, right? I think if you lose out the site, just go for something different, come back to it later on. There's no immediate rush. Leaving it to the 4th round does mean should you win, you're not going to be able to claim 2 victories on the site. You can do it in round 3, you get to play it again in round 6 should you win, but you know what, they're just choosing to go for the full rotation, and in the second half of the rounds, they'll do the same thing again. If they can pick up this round here though, that will be a great start for them. S2 a little bit more direct this time. We've seen them play for more control around the rest of the map, but with 3 members already looking at this office balcony, just choosing to apply a little bit more pressure, still have a couple players lurking on the other side of the map, notably Wi-Fi with that diffuser, but he's going to be rotating to join the rest of this team, as is the 5th. So again, just barreling down.
So good job dealing with the possibility of that wall denial, getting the wall open pretty easily, and they'll breaching charge open the barricade. A bit odd, but I mean, it doesn't really do anything. He just gets it open. Thermite going on the VIP wall as well, but they don't account for the bandit, and there's a successful trick. Wi-Fi at least still has another thermite charge in pocket. Now they've got to worry about this bandit. It's very easy to clear the bandit trick though from below. You just go downstairs to the window in reception and aim up at the ceiling, and there's the nade coming through. They'll open it with the Selma. There's the nade. It deals a hell of a lot of damage to Woos, and he's not gonna get the bandit trick in time to destroy the Selma before it goes off, but he does get it so that it's not going to open up an avenue. It's just an angle that this ace is going to be able to use, at very least, to watch into Dragon, but S2 aren't going to be able to move through it.
He does still have one more Selma, so if they can get rid of this bandit battery, he should be able to finish opening on up themselves. Just a crouch right hole. Doesn't look like it was quite tall enough to finish the deal off otherwise, but, well, the Impact EMP will do enough as Patrat getting aggressive on the breach, gets Candle as well, finds the first pick for the team, but has to be careful of the Jaeger inside of Dragon. The smoke giving him the cover that he needs, though, to take a little bit more of a forward stance, walking straight on through, able to get a lot of damage onto Aggro, who's playing behind, gets the injure onto the mirrors. Woos and Wi-Fi each pick up kills, but they're both onto the side of S2 as they start to fall away. Cryptic's the 3rd. Yes, they got down Ozone at the same time, and it's kept at a 2 versus 2. Kino and Wi-Fi kind of playing quite close to each other, but now trying to look for that slightly off angle just so that Lycus Empire aren't as aware of their approach.
Fortunately for the attack, both defenders isolated on the south side of the map. If they start planning on the reinforcement and museum, there's not a whole lot that Woos or Cryptics are going to have to say about it. Wi-Fi's getting a bit aggressive with the peaks. He'll sprint on in, take some fire from Cryptics, and start getting the plant down. Kino's got the cross. The bandit's just behind the bar. He can't get an angle. The impact misses. The plant goes down, and the shot onto Woos connects. 1 versus 2 for Cryptics as his teammate falls. He might be resable, though, since he has the cover of the bar. Cryptics, he's not even going to try. He's going to go in and take these fights himself. Wi-Fi alerts right around split. Goes down to Cryptics. Now we're in a 1 versus 1. 20 seconds remaining, and now he'll go for the res. Kino might know about it. He's going to take the opportunity to rotate, takes the fight, and loses it to Cryptics. 3 kills for the Malusi, and like his Empire ripped the round away to go up 2-1.
Yeah, I think a big loss in that round was the team kill coming through onto Packrat. I mean, look, you had that opening start. You had them pushing in, but very quickly dropping members to the various angles being held by Lycus, and having so many walls opened up, having so many positions being played with rotations, just adds a little bit more confusion to S2 Esports when they're trying to walk on in. And yes, they got control of that site, but ultimately, Cryptics playing that the clutch play near perfectly, right? He looks for the isolated 1v1 first. He's able to find it, and then that's when he recognizes, okay, I'm still under no pressure. I can get this revive off. And, well, with 2 rounds out of the 3, they are going to return to the only site that they've lost so far. Team Karaoke.
Here comes the Osa again, along with the Dokkaebi. No? Not a Dokkaebi?
A lion.
A lion for Packrat. Reverse also flexing onto Twitch. He wants to bring the F2. Lycus largely, though, bringing the same operator lineup. I can't remember if Cryptics was playing Warden the last time. He played it on the barbecue defense. Or sorry, Candle R6 was playing the Warden on the barbecue defense. I can't remember if they had the Warden round number 1, but either way, it is an extra shield. They've got 2 shields now, 2 C4s. Those C4s were inconsequential considering the roam clear from S2 Esports last time. We'll see if they start downstairs again. I think it definitely helped. I also didn't notice S2 Esports have swapped off the Lion. Packrat instead donning the Sledge, who almost dies off rip. Gets very lit up outside that window and is forced to back off and play more passively.
Yeah, no finger on the table, so that damage will be maintained through the rest of the round as Osa on this balcony, just looking to lock down some of this rotation. Maybe just cause a bit of a problem for them as S2 are working away on the other side of the map, using the Selma charges to open themselves up into the top of office there, and just maybe start to peel away at the roam. Bandit still playing... Well, going to start to drop back now. Gets a lot of damage onto reverse, actually. Able to secure the injure as well through a barricade. I don't know if he knows he's caught him out. If he does, he doesn't want to risk his life overextending for it. And, you know what? That's respectable. You get the damage, you get back, you maintain those advantages.
Now you have 2 players who are going to be really low on about 20 HP, but the first kill goes to S2 Esports. Wi-Fi with an opener onto Ozone, using that Osa shield to perfection, takes out the Bandit and one of those C4s. In the meantime, one of these attackers is starting to work their way up the black stairs. Drone will be shot. I can't quite tell who that is, though. The silhouette makes it look like it's Sledge. So yeah, it's Packrat coming up black stairs. You can do away with the barbed wire using a sledgehammer, but he is very low HP.
Well, now opening up this single wall into Geisha will force Woos to be just a little bit more careful as well. It's Packrat that gets injured out. Hino able to get the pick onto Candle in exchange, though. So he might be able to get picked up by Wi-Fi here if he is willing to take the cross. But Aggro and Cryptix each landing kills for their own. Drag it back to a 3 versus 3, but an effective 3v2. That Sledge still down for the count. 50 seconds to play as Woos gets another in the round. And, well, this is looking a little bit more dire than it started out. Able to get the pickup, though, but they will know where they're playing.
Also a flank coming in. I think that's Woos now down. Not Woos. Aggro, I think, downstairs. They've got no idea. This could be a free beyond a Packrat as he's hell-bent on watching the Osa shield. Here comes Aggro, and there's the freebie. 2 kills now for the Mute. Cryptix very lit up thanks to Wi-Fi. There's not a whole lot of time remaining. This Osa is going to have to find all 3 of these kills in the next 13 seconds. He nabs the one on through the wall onto Cryptix, being able to see that gun barrel. With only a PMM out, his chances are slim. He's got yellow pings on the Jaeger, but Aggro swings out to cover his teammate and confirm the triple kill. Lycus go up 3-1.
And again, this round just ending up playing out very differently to the first time around, right? S2 still looking for that play below, but not on the same side. They're not going through stock. Instead, trying to play a little bit more towards reception. And you know what? Ultimately, it didn't work out for them. They weren't able to get this opening pick, and without that extra pressure, without that free rotation upstairs, the time they spent trying to peel away this far side of the map just ultimately left them with a bit of a discoordinated push, right? We saw Wi-Fi and we saw Packrat, pushing up black without any other support or pressure being applied from the back of the defense, which made it quite comfortable for them just to wait this out. There was no need to peek into them because there wasn't much coming elsewhere, and they could just kind of sit with S2 Esports there and let them kind of have that space. They weren't drawing lines of sight, they weren't getting damage dealt with it, and eventually they were left alone because the roam clear fell apart.
It's been quite difficult for S2 Esports to get themselves safely into the bomb site these past 3 rounds. Lycus have done a great job of either keeping the execute at bay or retaking in the post plant. One of those retakes coming on this site, Barbecue and Kitchen, despite S2 Esports having really all the control they needed to go for a plant. They lost 2 really important 1v1s and gave Lycus Empire the advantage. We'll see what happens here as Lycus Empire once again have to extend upstairs. They'll have a player inside of T. We'll see if they go for the 2-1 split between Geisha and T again. It is completely different operators, so who knows? Last time it was a Jaeger and a Bandit playing in Geisha. Now they have neither of them. In fact, something that's kind of worrying is that they don't have any wall denial at all. Part of the reason why S2 were forced to push the way that they did is that they couldn't get the bandit off of Geisha wall, and now there's nothing stopping them from breaching it.
Yeah, it gives S2 that extra option without needing to do anything for it, right? And have the sledge on the table, you'll be able to clear this top floor a little bit easier with that knowledge in mind. The question is whether they discover it, or whether they even have any intention of doing so in the first place, as they're already starting to work their way through restaurant, trying to get a little bit closer to site earlier on. This window on Karaoke, they have the Repel player who's trying to open up between the sites, might be able to shoot that one off, but oh no, the player's down below anyway, so the extra option given. Cryptics takes down Packrat though this time, and well, first pick, once again falling Lycus, takes a little bit of damage as he tries to fall back, but ultimately able to hold onto his life, challenging this long angle with the SMG-11 though, is able to trade out Ozone, gets reverse in exchange.
These site setups from S2, or from Lycus, have also been hard to digest for S2. Lots of angles to have to worry about. That Cryptics is playing around perfectly as the smoke. Despite being the smoke, still playing aggressively, and why not? He's been landing the shots. Candle R6 takes a decent amount of damage as Cryptics now falls on the site to Wi-Fi. He now spots the floor hole from above, but 2 more bodies on the defense fall, leaving aggro alone in a 1 versus 3. S2 Esports storming in that top floor, and Wi-Fi now storming into the site to get the plant down. Nothing aggro can do about it. He's not there in time, and now the attackers have a post plant. Beautiful shot onto Kino. Now we're in a 1 versus 2. It's still winnable for aggro. There's 1 player downstairs, 1 player upstairs. They cannot play outside like on old Skyscraper. So the post plant still in the Legion's hands. He'll spot the above angle though. He can no longer push in through the doorway and doesn't know where Wi-Fi is sitting behind that long bar, meaning that S2 Esports get their first round after dropping 3 in a row.
Yeah, and it came off the back of a different assault, right? Focusing more on that restaurant, getting that early presence around site, while simultaneously having that pressure being applied onto Geisha, onto Karaoke window. And the defense didn't have much movement available to them upstairs, right? We saw the Alibi trying to rotate out, taking a lot of damage for it, and the other player upstairs on top floor able to win that gunfight a lot more easily because of it. And it's just this way that S2, they can keep this kind of play up, right? Where they're getting themselves into aggressive positions. It's like when you drop a queen, right? Real deep onto your opponent's side of the board, right? And it looks dangerous, it looks risky, and in your head you're thinking this shouldn't be doable because I'm going to lose my queen. But what ends up happening is there's no real appropriate response from your opponent to lock it in a corner, there's no way for them to take it, and you can slowly just gain that material, and that's exactly what S2 did. Just playing behind the pieces of cover they had available, limiting the angles drawn onto them, and able to pick up the kills to win the round.
You're a chess player?
I'm very bad at chess. It's like... My floor, a couple people on my floor are pretty fond of chess. They have like a running scoreboard. I think I'm like 2 and 8 against someone. It's not going very well, I'll be honest. I think but you start on like, is it chess.com? You start at like 600 elo. I think I'm currently at like 200 and something.
Wow.
So that gives a good enough depiction of how good I am at chess, but I know the names of the pieces, so that's got to count for something, right?
That's better than most, I'd say.
Yeah.
Who should play?
I'd be down to lose.
I'll hit you with a blitzkrieg.
Oh yeah.
I do love chess. Chess is fun.
I'll pretend I know what that is to seem smart.
You don't know what it is? Perfect. That means it'll work. So, Packrat and open up the wall. Woo's not covering it with the bandit batteries, instead preoccupied with that VIP wall, but S2 Esports do their due diligence this time. They deny the bandit trick, they get the VIP wall open, and none of their hard breaching has been wasted. Market improvement from what we saw in the previous round, or not previous round, but previous attempt on this site, which, I mean, overall wasn't bad anyway. They got in the site and they got that plant down. It was just the post plant where they suffered. Now that they got Barbecue Kitchen on lock, another site that they got retook on, I guess would be the proper word. We'll see if they can shore up their post plant here.
Yeah, and well, just currently waiting things out. I believe there's a way to get that mirror window with the exothermic charge if you drop it on the other side of the wall, but that not currently being used. Ozone does fall as reverse, walks in and gets himself a double kill. Woo's able to drag one back, but Kino's found himself inside a site, blocked the bandit out, able to get the injure. They're dropped down outside, finished off with the revolver. But Oki dropping as well as Candle just falling up. The trades are going back and forth. These two teams, again, the excessive amount of angles available to both sides, just causing these flurry of blows. As now you're looking at Candle, waiting at the top of Dragon, expecting this push to come through, and lands the shot to take down Kino. He's got a triple kill in the round, Crow, and now Wi-Fi left in the 1 versus 2. Can he pull it off? No.
Wow.
Cryptics holding on and just shutting things down.
Another case of S2 Esports looking like they had a stranglehold on the site, and Lycus Empire slapped them down. Specifically, Candle R6, a big 3K, especially the kill on the reverse. Really well timed, as Kino was kind of forced to drop away and hit the reload after whiffing on the guy outside. That alleviates a lot of the site pressure, forces Kino to try and push back into Dragon, since he can't really cross through that VIP doorway without taking the fight anyway. Had he still been in the site, maybe that's a different round. The case could be recovered, the plant could go, because Lycus Empire were peeled pretty far back, into Terrace and Dragon. They couldn't affect the site directly unless they push up into the line of fire of these attackers. So another dropped ball, I would say, from S2 Esports, but now they do get to play defense. We could be seeing a defensive-sided Skyscraper, which is
10 seconds left.
not necessarily standard, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it'll be T-Room first.
Yeah, I think it's just like Lycus recognizing the kind of weakness of some of these sites and just doing a good job of just kind of playing into those, right? It's like, okay, we can't really hold in sight, so instead we'll just open up a lot. We'll make it hard to be in sight, and it's worked for them twice. Now, flip side of things, they're the ones rocking out the Montaigne. I have to say, this does make me just a little bit happy deep down inside. It just fills me with a little bit of joy to see my shield wielder get brought out. But it looks like for the time being, just starting up for this roam clear once again in a fairly standard fashion. They do have that double shield.
Candle R6 starting things off on the Pack Rat, denying one of those C4s. Now there's only one left in the pocket of Amp, and that's the only guy downstairs too. Whether or not the Goyo was had joined him, he won't be anymore. Osa being played from Lycus as well. This is the Skyscraper is one of her stronger maps. But with the barricade being opened, a distraction play from S2 Esports, and they bait and switch the Osa. Woos goes down thanks to the C4. Beautifully played by Amp and his teammate, as the Goyo continues to try and press the issue, misses shots on a drone, and another one. He's kind of trapped by his own fire right now, but luckily there's no one pushing up the black stairs to try and shoot him in the back, so he's rather safe. The sledge, though, just around the corner.
And draw a little bit of a longer line of sight, and it also gives a second spot for the Goyo to be a little bit more cautious of. The frag grenade trying to maybe catch him unaware, but it's not going to work. He's up to the top already. Candle getting another pick onto Wi-Fi, though. The Warden. There are a couple smokes on board, so they will help solve some of the issues caused by that. But Monty, Ozone, straight up black stairs now, taking that control. They're a little bit less afraid of Oki waiting for them, but yep, go back again. Cool, thank you. Nice for teams to kind of follow along as we're going, but now Twitch able to get in this rappel as well. They can start to apply a little bit of pressure in. The wall has been reinforced off, but he's got the hard breach charge scope. He can make himself some access points.
Oh, and the defense, they're trying to isolate these attackers using the smoke. I love the idea from Kino, but in the meantime, Reverse is going to die. This is one of Monty's stronger sites, considering the entirety of this hallway indestructible from below. There's nothing to stop him, and as Kino swings aggressively with the shotgun, he does not get the pump, and it leaves Amp in a 1 versus 4. He hears the rappel, he sees the sledgehammer, but can't find the shots. The sledge doesn't expose himself. The Monty, not even extended, holding his shield in the face of Amp, taunting the Goyo as aggro finishes him off, and Lycus go up 5-2.
Nice shield skin as well. Like to see good shield pastes from the Monty players, but ultimately again, Lycus Empire in this round, finding that opening pick, having Candle just able to do this so consistently. He did it a couple times on defense. He's starting off well on the attack with it, and it gives him that extra freedom to play around, right? You're no longer worried about the roamer down below. inside of Restaurant, it gives Cryptics that opportunity to start peeling away at Black. And it's again, just Lycus. Very coordinated in their pushes, very coordinated playing off of each other to get these opening picks. And it works well on defense. It can work even better on attack when you have pieces of utility that can just lean into it. And now you're seeing Woos on that Dokkaebi. Again, another one of these operators who can help clear as much space early on into rounds. I don't know how I feel, though, about S2 running back the same site.
I mean, maybe banking on the fact that Lycus aren't going to run the Monty again.
They're not, so...
They're not running Osa either.
5 seconds to go.
So...
That's
looking like it's going to be a completely different attack from Lycus. What is worrying, no matter what, though, is that... Don't forget, this is S2's map pick. And they're already down 5-2. If they end up losing this, that's terrible news going into the second map.
Is he going to go for the repick? I think now that this player's on the balcony, you've got to be, or at least on the rappel for it, you've got to be a little bit more cautious as Wi-Fi here. Just going to take that as the opportunity. You know what? Got a bit of damage onto aggro, got a couple shots in, fall back and play the life. As now this roam has been set up. They have extended across, and once again, S2 opening up a couple more rotations, a couple more fallback paths, as damage continuing to be just dealt slowly and in just small increments over to Lycus, but no picks found off of it just yet. The office wall now opened up. Will cause them to fall back, though. At least a little bit.
Lycus spend about a minute opening this wall, but the alibi is still there. I believe that's the mute still in VIP. S2 Esports still interested in taking the fight to this attack, but just as I say that, though, perhaps they were playing for drones. They fall off just before Lycus storm into the building. And I mean, why not? There's only a minute and a half remaining, and Lycus Empire only have 3 drones left. That is not great drone economy. At least they have the Iana, so for some extra info. But this drone is likely going to get shot as well. And there we go. Now 2 drones left, and they don't even have eyes on sight yet.
They're also down to only 1 nade that's left in the pocket of Cryptic, so it becomes a little bit harder to dislodge some of these more comfortable positions. No other piece of utility really able to do that. Both of the Dokkaebi calls gone as well. Lycus Esports definitely running a little bit thin on this utility, finally starting to apply some pressure on a second avenue point, and that's going to be Geisha. Woos gets the pick onto Wi-Fi. The first of the round, 50 seconds still remaining, which is enough time for them to move across. Still aware of this wall inside of Geisha, maybe hiding some secrets. It will be shut off pretty quickly, so they can shore up that position, continue to stall out for as much time as possible, as it's Packrat and it's Arky just waiting for this push to come on in.
Holding a nice crossfire. Well, not really crossfire on Geisha, more playing for the trade. As Amp swings out aggressively, he finds the head of Ozone and immediately backs on out. Packrat, another, and Amp getting aggressive. Cryptics doesn't expect it. He was trying to sledge the shield. Goyo now going for more. Lands a lot of damage onto aggro. Now holding the 90-degree angle, pistol in hand. He's probably got help from his teammates as well. Finds it on the Candelar 6, and now it's all aggro. 1 HP, 3 seconds left, and nothing for him to do. Amp, 4 kills on the round on the Goyo, and he'll give S2 Esports a much needed 3rd point.
Sometimes operators can be crutches for teams, and I'm not going to say that they have a Monty crutch just yet, because obviously we've seen Lycus playing on other maps without it, still being able to bring success, but this attack on the other side did not work out well for them. They seemed way more hesitant to take that initial space. What, a minute into the round, they started opening up this office wall. You have drones going in, drones being shot out. These drones shouldn't be shot without players nearby, players pushing these defenders back, looking for kills, looking to find that damage. I don't know if this is kind of as a result of that early damage dealt onto Cryptics and aggro, where neither of the two of them wanted to kind of overextend or risk their life too much, but when you have this kind of a roam setup, you need to be a lot swifter in dealing with it, and so much information, so much utility wasted, and they had nothing to show for it. I don't know, that's a big problem for me. That's red flags starting to show a little bit. Is it just a one-off? Is it just that sight from this side? They maybe wanted to try and catch S2 off? I'm not quite sure, because they've looked stronger on their skyscraper attacks the last outing we saw here.
I'll have to see. I think if they start losing more and more attacks, maybe we can say that about the Monty. We'll have to see how it goes on a different bomb site now that still involves an upstairs take. S2 Esports with a much more fluid lineup now. Alibi, Oryx, Aruni, Malusi, and Goyo, all 5 of these operators, great roamers. And speaking of roamers, Reverse with the first kill as Candle R6 hits the floor. Iana dead. A set of nades gone. And not the operator or player you wanted to lose first.
And, well, this just continues to add obstacles for Lycus as Ozone, he's going to fall to the Nitro Cell, thrown out the window by Amp, who again is just continuing to cause problems for them. I say that. Aggro spotting him on the drone, droning himself in, very astutely recognizes his rotation, gets cams, shoots him through the barricade, just predicting that head-height rotation as Wi-Fi. Cool just ends, gives him a little bit of freedom to play around as Packrap, leave off a vertical hold, is able to get woos. Now they're in a 2 versus 4 Lycus Empire, and both of them a little bit split up. They're looking for individual frags here to try and even the man can out. He's got to be careful of these crossfires, very close proximity.
Dangerous as well for both Aggro and Cryptics to be completely separated from each other on different floors even. The Aruni dusted. He was such low HP that it didn't really matter. Wi-Fi, he gets his head cut off by Aggro, and out of nowhere, the man counts now even. Kino, the next to try and get aggressive and kill the Zofia, who's on a 3K right now. That'll allow Kino to fall off as Aggro is not watching that angle for a slight moment, backing off to reload and recuperate. So Kino gets away. Now placed on those main stairs, but Reverse tries to get a pick, swings into Cryptics and dies, and this round is getting out of hand. Kino swings in, lights up Cryptics, finally downs him, the pistol comes out, but Aggro's pre-firing in the right place. 4 kills for the Zofia, and S2 throw the round away.
The funniest thing for me as well is I'm pretty sure a timeout was called by Lycus Empire during the round. I think when they were in a 2 versus 4, they called the timeout. Yeah, they have, and so they call a timeout, not having the faith in the team, or maybe not necessarily not having the faith, but wanting to take this time after the round, perhaps expecting a loss, and fairly so, but Cryptics, just incredible play there, just able to find the exact time that these players were peeking into him, and from the side of S2, why? Right, like, there isn't this need to do so. You can play these angles a little bit more passively, you wait for the Zofia to commit, to walk out into the corridor, and then you can shut them down. The difficulty for Lycus in that situation was that Cryptics and Aggro were not really in positions to join each other. Yes, Cryptics could have walked up Black Stairs potentially to help him out. There was plenty of time for them to just kind of waste. The time is so important for defensive teams, and they didn't really play to that objective.
I don't know why they insisted on peeking over and over again. They really didn't need to. Especially with Aggro and Cryptics being the last 2 alive. The standout performers for both of their teams so far. I don't know, man. Weird from S2 Esports, who are now going to try again. I do think, though, we can say that the attack should have been lost. Lycus Empire did not look good in the early stages of that round. S2 Esports were just running all over them. I'm sure S2 are going to be looking to repeat that success with the exact same operators, only with Kino and Reverse switching the Malusi and Alibi. So, swapped roles, but especially with the way S2 plays, Amp can't be the only guy positive. The other members are going to have to start stepping up.
5 seconds left.
Well, it's definitely time, right? You're looking down match point, no room for error now, and Lycus coming off of this timeout, yes, S2 get to talk as well, but for them, just resolving any potential problems they've had with their early attacks, and there have been a fair share of them, right? It's losing out these early entry picks and investing what I would deem to be a little bit too much utility and wasting these drones. As I say that, I think one just gets caught out downstairs running through the restaurant, but Candle, he's going to jump straight in the window. Reverse finds the first pick onto Cryptics, and although the Yana is looking to try and trade it out, to try and find a revenge frag, they're not going to show. S2 Esports showing great patience around these windows where they're in forward positions, but they're not pushing their luck just yet.
Amp sits right under that reception window, prone, out of the sight line of Candle R6, but as the Dokkaebi call goes off, his location now revealed to the player outside. But he doesn't care. He's still going to sit there. And Candle R6 is going to back off. The Aruni getting aggressive, gets taken out by Ozone. I thought it was aggro to get that kill, but it was, I don't even know where the hell Ozone is. Oh, he's on the, maybe on the karaoke rappel? That would have to be it. So either way, the man count has now been equalized. They've got some sight lines into the bomb site as well. And I can't believe Reverse didn't die to that. He evades the shots from Ozone. Luckily, there's a suppressor on the Ace's gun, so Reverse might not even be aware of the angle in the first place, but he's still able to get the kill. And Candle R6 goes down as S2 reclaim the man advantage.
Well, moving in on the rappel, getting into Black Staircase now, trying to give aggro some help upstairs. Don't want to be forced in the same position as last time, as Wu's still in restaurant, takes some damage from deep inside a barbecue, and Kino takes down aggro. That's a fear, that threat from the last round, not going to be a problem. The refrag quickly coming through, but Wi-Fi cleans things up before they can get out of hand, and the Dokkaebi. 1 versus 3 situation here. A little bit of a tall task to ask for. The Tracers showing the positioning here inside of reception, but so far nothing kind of flying in. The vertical hole nearly catching out Wi-Fi, but now just choosing to fall back. Going to go outside the bottom window, rappel up to the top floor perhaps, or just rotate for a wider angle. Looks like a wider angle is the call as he jumps straight on in, but into the waiting arms of Wi-Fi. The Oryx rotating such rapid speeds.
Being able to hear the barricade as well to time his peak, and S2 Esports take a very good defense, taking the fight to Lycus Empire, who unfortunately were not ready for it, especially Reverse, who is simply playing by the long bars. Malusi able to get 2 picks, and Lycus Empire, not enough manpower, I guess, for them to comfortably take into that top floor, so they just didn't, and they paid the price for it. Good trades from Wi-Fi as well to make sure that the man count wasn't going to slip out of their control. So now we're 6-4. And S2 Esports aren't going to try T again. At least not yet. They'll also go to Office and Exhibition as their tertiary site. Only with a very different lineup. No Mira, no Band. Instead, they have Frost and Alibi for 2 shields. Wamai to protect said shields. Amp, of course, taking on the Goyo. And now Kino on Doc.
I like Doc now. You know what, I think Doc is one of these now valid situational picks, where before he was a invalid troll pick, and I think Thunderbird has dropped off a little bit. Teams no longer want to play around this sort of health game that we'd see before. But against lineups, and when you have sites where you want one position to really hold on tight, being able to boost yourself up to 200 HP, well, not literally, right? You give yourself 200 HP back, up to, what, 20 over your max HP? Being able to do that 3 times is so strong, and I mean, we've seen plays where people have used it to live through Capitao, for example. Not that that's going to be here, but when you're constantly trading damage back and forth through these long windows, these long angles that the attack can draw on a site like Exhibition, having that extra sustain power will be huge. But the breach opened up pretty quickly here as there's no bandit on the table. There's nothing to try and trick it off. So already something for S2 to be a little bit cautious of.
I imagine that speed's going to be the name of the game for this attack, considering Ozone on Amaru. A lot of times when we see her on this site, it's to go up the hatch and get an Amaru plant down once the attackers have taken sufficient control of site and open up that wall. Omai, though, playing right on the other side of the bomb chassis, makes it so it's unsafe for that Amaru to peek up, and the Doc that we were talking so much about dies instantly to aggro as he gets aggressive. Wi-Fi is the next to fall to Candle R6, and it's a 5 versus 3 for Lycus Empire. You can see the Amaru starting to set up downstairs, along with one of her teammates, I think that was Candle, throwing up one of those nades, who now dies to Reverse. I don't quite know where that was, but Candle R6 is gone. Cryptic's continuing to try and buck from below, but unable to spot Packrat.
Staying very tight on this bomb chassis. Walks over the holes, though, and takes a whole lot of damage. Able to keep alive, though. No dock. That's out of play now, so you can't get that damage back. You're going to have to live on very little HP. I'm still waiting for this push to come in from the side. The doorway being watched very vigilantly as... Well, there's the flashbangs, the smokes, I should say, sorry, coming through. There's the Candelas. Just going to force him back to guarantee the rappel in safely. Now that they know this Wamai just fallen out. Oh! First sight, up the hatch, the Nitro Cell will catch it, but the plant's going down. Amidst the chaos, amidst the noise, they've used the Garrow Hook to just get on into sight. The Frostmat's caught one, so it's a 2 versus 3 in favor of the defense. Make that a 1 versus 3 as Amp runs out, but the Amaru playing down below has so much to do in this round. They have the opportunity. They find the first through the floor. Packrat is down. 2 still lurking around, looking to try and time these defusers well, but Amp goes down. He's trying to commit to it. Reverse, standing on the desk. I don't think he knows the lights. I don't think he spotted him. He gets it off in time.
Defenders win.
Wow. Reverse thought he lost that. You can see by the way he typed. Wow.
The Amaru's head pops up right at the end. I mean, just committing to it. Fair play to him, right? Reverse, just recognizing, okay, this is the best shot in this situation. I do feel a little bit bad for him there, right?
Attackers need to
Gets
locate and
2
defuse
kills
any
from
bombs they
underneath,
can.
looking to just try and find anything in that round, to just try and pull it back in the post plant. But ultimately, just that early aggression from S2.
The fact that, you know, the fights through the floor were taken by S2 Esports too was probably just to delay the Amaru for as long as possible, and probably lost his fight a little faster than he wanted to, but it gave enough time for Reverse to start that long arm on top of the desk. If that hadn't happened in the first place, if they had maybe tried to rotate downstairs and take the straight up 1v1, we could have seen a different result and this map might be over. So great job to Reverse and his teammates to stick that. Amp as well, going hero mode right now for his team. 10 and 7 along with Reverse, getting those really important kills out on the balcony, C4ing the Ying to make sure those Candelas were no longer in play, and killing one of the attackers attempting to get back to a post-plant position. Amp has been a star on the defense so far for his team. Glad to see Reverse waking up too. And Lycus Empire have to be very careful. We're back on T now, but there's no Monty in play.
And now they have to be a little bit more careful. That overtime becoming a looming threat for Lycus, who at one point looked very poised to take this game. But that's a great way to start the round. Packrat getting aggressive on the window with the shotgun, caught out by the DMR. And, well, you lose that smoke. You lose those toxic babes. More importantly, you lose your player inside a karaoke. And being on that rappel, you cut off the rotation hole from Geisha, so it becomes just a little bit harder to reinforce that position. As again, Lycus Empire downstairs, trying to just apply so much pressure from below with the nades. It's, well, going to be a little bit more difficult for S2.
Yeah, losing the smoke early on is not the pick they wanted to forfeit. Like I said, kind of a common Packrat L going for an aggressive play and it just not working out. At the very least, a minute and a half has been expended by Lycus downstairs. A lot of time being wasted away with only that pick on the smoke to show for it. All the nades from Candle 6 used with no kills. Cryptic still has 2 in his pocket. And Aggro, of course, with breaching rounds still to deal with any shields or bulletproofs or Goyo packs should the attack need to. Right now, they're distracted by this Frost. Reverse is wasting a lot of time downstairs despite having info. Reverse gets away with a kill and even knocks out the only remaining set of nades. So sure, he dies, but he goes 1 for 1 with probably the best operator he could have gone 1 for 1 with.
Well, now still holding on to Geisha pretty comfortably. Ozone on the other side of the map has not started to cause them any problems there, despite there being no utility denying the breach. Are able to get this wall at top black. Started open up, Wi-Fi gets injured. It makes things just a little bit more accessible now, as you no longer have to worry about that tight angle being held. This could be it, though.
Wi-Fi picked
Amp
up.
has the footholds.
Oh,
Able to
no!
get through, but not enough damage. Just Candle shuts down Kino. Wi-Fi gets one back, though. Takes down the ace. The diffuser dropped inside of Karaoke, playing on this bomb chassis for dear life as the shots come in from all angles around him. 15 seconds for Lycus Empire to finish out the round as the damage coming through. Wi-Fi gets one onto Candle. It's down to the 2 versus 2. Wu still outside on the rappel. He's not really in a position to properly cover this. He's trying to, but the shots through the wall from Wu's. Wi-Fi takes down the plant. The timer is too low. He's looking for that final kill, but Legion will hold on tight, hug that bomb chassis for dear life, and there just isn't enough time for Lycus Empire to draw line of sight, and it's overtime in map 1.
And what a sight hold at the end there for S2 Esports. You also got to give it up to Kino the Doc, abandoning his position in Geisha and eventually giving up his life to get the res on Wi-Fi, who is in a much better position to deny that plant, and the team knew it.
Yep.
Had this been old Doc, had Wi-Fi been picked up by regular means, he took damage after he was rezzed. He might have died, but because Doc is able to full res with full HP now after the buff, Wi-Fi was able to tank those shots, get the pings from his teammates. They had info in that site, kill the initial plant attempt, and kill aggro through the wall who tried to reposition. Beautiful stuff from S2 Esports, specifically Wi-Fi at the end there, holding in that site, positive now, 9 and 8, and this is what I mentioned, this is what we needed to see. It can't just be the AMP show. With how S2 Esports play, we need more of these members finding the frags, going positive, and Reverse and Wi-Fi have answered the call, and that's why we're seeing overtime.
And now they're the ones starting on attack, which so far has kind of not been as strong as you would want it to be, right? Skyscraper, often one of these maps you're looking at where you can take a lot of advantages. Lycus choosing to go the exhibition, though, and they are going to play this game once again very similarly to the way they have before. Lots of openings, lots of access points into sight from across the other side of the map. And S2 looks like they've learned from their previous mistakes, looking to address the main problem, which is this extension, head on, clear out that space, and, well, kind of killbox Lycus in their own sight.
There's only 2 members that they're going to have to worry about. Looks like it's Cryptix and Ozone, the Frost and the Jaeger on those extensions. Already a Thermite charge being used to open up the Geisha wall. The Frost just around the drum, but gets away. Packrat unable to spot the head. Still extended, just not quite as far. The Frost retreats into Terrace, a reinforcement at her back, separating her from Dragon and her teammate. Eventually falling back into the site and rotating back through, maybe to support Ozone here on this shield, protected by both an Aruni Gate and an ADS. Of course, S2 Esports do have plenty of utility, or rather, they did have plenty of utility, but they no longer have any nades, and they don't have Packrat or Kino anymore. Ozone moves off the shield and collects 2, make it 3, another on the window. Wi-Fi may be next on the killing fields, and there we go. 4 kills for Ozone. Amp, the last one left, opened the VIP wall and is watching the doorway, probably wondering what the hell just happened to the rest of his team.
And, I mean, what do you really have to say for yourself? The rest of them, he's able to get 1 onto Cryptix, but that position in Dragon instantly filled up by the Jaeger looking for his ace. Can Ozone land the shots required to find the first round of overtime? Well, the ace pushing in, just trying to play with this aggression, the bulletproof camera pinging out their every move, but this patience from Lycus Empire, they're not going to over-aggress, they're not going to give up too many kills here, because that's where these free rounds, these impossible clutch situations start to slip through your fingers. The jump coming through has to be wary of the double Frostmat, able to get rid of them both, but the mirror shortly dismantles him afterwards. And Lycus Empire, 1 round up in overtime now, 1 round away from taking map number 1, and stealing S2's map.
And you can see, if those frost mats weren't there, and that's the importance of those frost mats. Sure, they don't always get kills, but it makes the attacker choose. Are you jumping through the window with your gun up, or are you gonna choose to shoot those bear traps? Aggro had no idea the ace was jumping through the window. Amp played the sound cue perfectly, but he had to shoot the frost traps. And although Aggro didn't hear the vault, he certainly heard the shots going off 3 feet to his right. and was able to turn around and get the kill. A valiant attempt from Amp there to get himself in the bomb site, but at the end of the day, the mountain too steep for him to climb. 7-6 advantage, like you mentioned, for Lycus Empire as they now move on to the attack. We could very well see max overtime here, but either way, we're going to need one of these teams to buck the trend.
S2's most recent defensive win over in Karaoke, but they don't want to do it. Once again, running with Exhibition. Both these teams settling on this to be their favored point to hold. And once again, another extended hold going all the way across up to Drum. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Both these teams want that advantage, want these openings. Are Lycus going to go for the similar take to S2? It looks like they are, starting out a little bit more spread out than they have previously. 2-3 split, but last time they did this and they just ended up running the last two members over towards the balcony anyway. Cryptic's maybe trying to play below to clear out some space. There's no Mario on the board this time.
No, there is not. I'm surprised this is the first Vigil we're seeing too, all map, considering how roam-heavy Skyscraper tends to be. It's one of those maps where, again, it's pretty small. Not quite as small as something like a Border, but still rather small, considering the scale of other maps like Villa, Oregon, Theme Park especially. You can play the entire map as the defense. So, very surprised that we haven't seen Vigil up until now. But Wi-Fi will bring him, play downstairs, and get the lead-off kill. Speak of the devil, Cryptix goes down. The Buck, who did so much work in opening those floor holes from below, will no longer have an effect on this round. But Wi-Fi, now trapped like a rat in a cage. Here comes the pre-fire. Wi-Fi turns around just in time, but there's people bearing down on him, and he gets away! Impacts through the wall. Stays stalwart, here's the peak, but he loses the fight to Candle R6. But so much time wasted, going 1-for-1, wasting half the round, and only now can Lycus Empire safely start their bottom-up take.
Still aware of potentially someone else below. Not that there is, but the drones just haven't been pushing too far through, right? They haven't been finding out these players, and now should spot out the frost mat on the staircase. Still a Goyo canister there, which can be popped and buy a further 20 seconds for S2 here on their hold. Breach. The Mute Gemmer finally going to get gone, so it can be opened on up by the Selmers. Background once again in this position. Can I choose to drop down the hatch? I don't think he's been hurt on the drop. They have absolutely no clue, Crow, and he gets one. Can't win out the gunfight against the second. Aggro shuts that down before things can stem too far against them. Now, this Go canister popped, buying that time for them as the Dokkaebi calls ring on through. It's going to be close on the gunfight. Series still yet to make that move into the breach as well. 30 seconds for Lycus to push.
The time dwindling for this attack. The shotgun on the stairs from Kino. A deadly prospect for the attack to try and push through, but he just rotates right in front of the open wall, and it's another kill for Woos through the wall once again. Amp was just detected. He's got to come back, and Aggro dusts him. Another mind-boggling play from S2 to throw the round. Kino apparently having no idea the wall was open. Reverse trying to peek the floor holes, a completely disadvantageous angle considering how close he was. And Lycus ripped the map away, 8-6. And S2, again, they were in so many good positions to win, and they threw it away time and time again.
It's just these last second pushes from Lycus Empire in these attacking rounds in particular, where it's just been finding the important picks, finding the players who are locking down important zones and moving so quickly. Lycus Empire, got to give them a lot of credit there, because in so many of these rounds, they were on the back foot. You said it, slipped through S2's fingers just a little bit. Losing your own map as well at the start of a series is not ideal, bro.
It is not, especially when the next map plays so differently than this one. But we're gonna flip to a short break. Probably maybe throw the B stream up if they're still going on. So either a B stream break or just a normal break while we give the players a quick rest, get map 2 ready, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Bank just after this.
On a double, though, and he finds a third to the smoke. Just enough. Getting into 3K with 3 seconds left. Final lands the pre-fire.
Welcome back. We got the replays up on the board. Lycus Empire versus S2. If you missed it, a hotly contested skyscraper. Always love casting this map. Always love watching this map. This map is great. Very fresh to the map pool. It was S2's map pick. Unfortunately, they could not win it out. They were down 6-3. They brought it back to overtime, but couldn't win a single round after that. They fell to Lycus Empire 8-6. A lot of issues concerning their late round. A lot of times their early round was pretty damn good. It was the clutch factor from Lycus, the patience from S2 as well, not being there a lot, over peeking into the angles that were already being held. A bit sad to see. And Lycus Empire go up 1-0 off of S2's map pick. Next map will be Bank, which plays very differently. Skyscraper's small. You can afford to play the entire map as the defense without really spreading yourselves too thin. Bank is quite the opposite. It's huge. I think it's the second biggest map in the map pool after Theme Park. Well, it's 3-tiered though. Theme Park's only 2-tiered. So it's a huge 3-tiered map. You can't play the whole map. Even on a 3-tiered roam, you're going to leave places unattended. And I'm curious to see which team that's going to work in the favor of. S2 very aggressive, Lycus Empire a bit more laid back and a bit more strategic. Either of these playstyles can work on Bank. We saw it work out better for Lycus on Sky, so I'm excited to get into this one. We are still waiting for one of S2's players, though, so while we wait for everyone to get in the lobby, we're going to flip to the B stream real quick, and then we'll be back with Bank just after this.
To be both team specialties. Back to mining dining we will go. So Homeland won another shot at it. They nearly took home that previous round, and Duke will bring down Cohen. I believe the castle was trying to put down a barricade somewhere, and instead is punished for it. Yeah, at the top of the white stairs window. Cohen trying to use that cool mechanic where the barricade immediately disappears. It's very hard to time up and get a kill. You only have about a second, if that, to be able to spot the castle's head and take them out. But Cohen too late on their setup. They'll forfeit their life, and the castle, the anchor, putting long angles throughout the floor, it'll no longer exist in the round.
EQ3 once again met with a early man advantage, trying their best to deny Homeland a shot at map 3, and they're going to have to find 3 more rounds to do it in regulation, or at least 2 to force overtime here. But Homeland, they still have plenty of control and plenty of manpower.
Oh,
as I say that,
beautiful.
though, Semi is just going to absolutely cut down Snipey, but Zez is going to find one right back. And so that map control might be disappearing, but the manpower is still paying dividends.
That's exactly why that castle barricade is there on that white window. Cohen being punished early ends up punishing Snipey as well, who's probably comfortable and used to that defensive setup. I didn't even know that that window was never barricaded in the first place. Zez, though, from below will try to challenge on a Semi, but they're spotted out by a drone, so we'll elect to think better of it, as they would have certainly lost their life. Semi rappelling on into the white hall now, and just over a minute and a half, or just under a minute and a half left, rather, is EQ3. They begin to, again, lots of forward progress on their attack. Breach charge rotations will be made in between Freezer and Cocktail instead of eliminating that castle barricade. Haiku waking up finally in this lobby as Rocky will fall, and Semi still working this vertical presence. Zez and Ivan, the last 2 Homeland defenders, and they feel very uncomfortable in the bomb site. Information on Zez will be enough to take them out, and Ivan will lose a little bit of HP to Haiku, but not finish off just yet. A swing coming through, and Z from the white hallway will end up taking out that last player. The alibi falls, and rounds even back out.
That's a great work there from EQ3, just punishing the small little mistakes from Homeland. Usually, I'm sure that the castle has been laid on his setup 1,000 times and not met the wrong end of a weapon, but this time punished for it and furthering that damage, taking advantage of the fact that there's no castle barricade on that white hall, finding another one increasing their man advantage, increasing their presence on the top floor. Homeland, they felt really confident in that mining and dining setup, opting to go for it twice. And it was shut down pretty cleanly by EQ3. It can be a tough task to deal with sites that you don't see very often. So good on EQ3 for being able to close that out pretty cleanly.
They've evened it back out. Homeland still have only won one defense, and
10 seconds.
they need more. They really need more, because if EQ3 manages to put themselves on a match point, they're one round away from sending themselves into the round of 8 on SCS Season 7 closed qualifier at number 1, and if they end up winning that next match, they'll find themselves in the advantage, and they'll qualify themselves for SCS. So, Homeland, you really don't want to go through all of these qualifiers again. It's a long day, a long night, and they're not looking too hot right now. EQ3 have taken back the momentum that we saw earlier on in this matchup, and things not looking too great on the other side of Homeland.
EQ3 now with a solid chunk of momentum in their pocket are going to try to claim this lead here. Semi going to do a little...
Pollard's on a double, though, and he finds the third through the smoke. Just an ult. Getting it to 3K with an ult. With 3 seconds left, Final lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time. He clutches it out. What a play from the alibi as the lobby player goes unchecked.
And welcome back. Sorry for the delay, but all 10 players are now back in the lobby. We are starting on Bank, Lycus Empire's pick after they won Skyscraper 8-6. Operator ban starting out normal. Nook, a premier operator on Bank. They do not want to afford that luxury to Lycus. X-ban being Hibana. If you're going to ban any hard breacher on this map, it's likely going to be her.
Yeah, the amount of hatches that you have on important sites, specifically the basement, right? When you just want to be able to lock that a little bit down. And Cade, following shortly. I mean, again, this is another very standard ban on Bank, because, again, the importance of these hatches, being able to play around that. If you don't have the Hibana, you want to make sure that you can at least get access to them somewhat easily. Valkyrie rounding things out. And again, Valkyrie, an operator UT banned on near every map in the pool, just because those black eye cameras are so hard to deal with. And you're looking at Bank, there are so many tool rooms where just hiding them in these little corners can be quite difficult to deal with. Lots of plant pots, lots of bushes, tables and chairs and everything, and just it's a nuisance to deal with. You don't necessarily always want to be bringing that IQ. Just circumvent that problem altogether.
By the way, in the during the break in the group chat I'm in with a bunch of players, Reverse and Packrat are in that group chat, and I told Packrat to stop getting first picked as smoke, and he said he was feeling it. So I mean, I see the vision. Reverse also claims he says he's warm now. That was his warm-up map, as Reverse claims. And he said, "Watch what I'm about to do." So we'll have to keep our eyes on Reverse, the Korean demon. See how they defend CEO. Strange that they're going to this bomb site first, considering some teams still play it. Archives, Teller's Archives is slowly becoming more popular. CEO just kind of sucks now.
I think teams have become a lot more comfortable attacking it and taking space away from you as the defender, especially taking this stock presence. And while the slight changes that came through to Bank in recent seasons definitely helped prevent some of these long angles that can be drawn from the rappel all the way over on the west side, still a bit of a pain just to have to deal with, and lots of teams, like you said, prefer to go lower, but yeah, you said it. He wants to go for these kills. He wants to find this early aggression, and he's looking for it.
He's feeling it.
Is he going to find it? Oh, no, he's not.
Yeah, it turns out the only thing Packrat's feeling is pain as he gets dropped by aggro and finished off. Actually, not quite yet. He's still behind the window, and he actually gets killed by the Amaru swinging in. In the meantime, there's at least a trade. Candelar 6 dead, but the plant is going down amidst the smoke thanks to that Amaru. Kino trying to pre-fire through, but can't land the shot. Eventually gets the planter, but only after the diffuser has been put down. Lose a trade onto Reverse as well. We're even on a 3 versus 3, and every single attacker is outside, which means this is a very difficult post plant. But look at this, Amaru the Azami coming out along with the castle barricade. I love the idea, but sadly couldn't come to fruition. But look at this from Wi-Fi, both kills on the windows. The Azami, that one Kiba barrier, winning them the round as Kino sits on the diffuser. I didn't even realize it was happening before it was too late, and I'm sure Lycus didn't either.
Just the flexibility granted in the Azami, showing through so well why teams like to get rid of it on every map, on Bank especially. And I mean, look, you had the castle go for the same play, and I really like that idea. Maybe if a Kiba
really
comes through
too.
first, yeah, if the Kiba comes through first, maybe keep him alive, but ultimately just the one Kiba that was in play was shutting down the window, able to do a good enough job at slowing things down, and it reduces the number of angles you have to worry about. You can see other windows also blocked up with them at the end of the rounds, and I mean, look, it was a lovely play by Lycus to get into sight early. The smokes dropped deep, and planting within them with the candelas going off, any nitro cells, any toxic babes thrown out, are going to be focused on these default positions, either just in the window or just behind the desk. Planting in the middle of the room, not usually expected. Ultimately, that retake, just too strong from S2, able to find the necessary picks, and then, like you said, Kiba played to perfection.
By the way, our first finished match has been completed. LSR Young Studs, LSR 1-2-0. So
what you're saying is that we're 1-0
it was,
on predictions so
it was an
far.
expected result. 7-2 Cafe, 7-5 Oregon.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Okay, the bracket's not updating, but Trist just messaged the group chat saying that Citizens Arrest, the team he's on, just 2-0'd Able. So,
1-for-1 on predictions. Okay.
well, there goes one of the 4 teams we thought was going to qualify for the league, I guess.
Yeah.
Trist
Yeah,
just
that's,
countered Frenchie Power. That's crazy.
It's a bit of an upset, actually. Well, I say that. I don't know if that is, like, actually a real upset, but in terms of I'm upset that my predictions aren't correct, it's an upset.
Indeed. Woo's taking a lot of early damage. Reverse runs out of ammo. Wow, he's using the pillar as cover, but he doesn't get away with it. Dies to Cryptix, but not before Amp comes in for the trade. In the meantime, Kino on Marble Stairs is the next to fall. And it's a 4 versus 3, 4 versus 2 now as Candle R6 kills the final roamer. Now, it's Smoke and Echo in a 2 versus 4. Obviously, you never want to be in a 2 versus 4 clutch situation, but out of all the operators on the defense, these are the 2 you'd want to have.
Yeah, and, well, you can see both of them looking for an aggressive pick, right? Trying to push this round into their advantage, or at least draw it back. Candle shuts down Wi-Fi and Pack Rat, left in a 1 versus 4 situation. So it's a little bit grim. You never want to be on the receiving end of this, and now he's just falling back to the basement, waiting for the oncoming push to come through from Lycus. But I really like the way that they're just slowing this round down again. You've still got a minute to play with. You've got plenty of utility still on the board. You've got these hard breach charges in the pocket of Ozone. Open up these hatches, give yourselves the options that you want, and just force Pack Rat to get a little bit angsty. Force him to make a move that normally you might not go for. Normally you'd be willing to back away from, as, well, they're opening up the breach into A site, looking to just try and play for a default plant position. Noticing Pack Rat is playing so tight here, he's grabbed out the shotgun, trying to contest it. Ducking around the cover, the Toxic Babes drop down, but ultimately it's Cryptix, who's just walked down the back stairs and found the backstab to finish off the round, and Lycus pushing every advantage, pushing every frag, find an attacking win.
Not boding well. That roam only getting what, like 1 kill? They sat like 3 people up there and got 1. Not a great sign, leaving the Echo and the Smoke all alone to fend for themselves in a 2 versus 4. And it looks like they'll play a lot closer to the chest now. I mean, immediately switching the operators, right? Smoke, Echo, Castle. I like that they're still sticking on the Echo, because Lycus Empire, one of our criticisms of them last time on Skyscraper, not this Skyscraper, the past Skyscraper, during open calls, was that they were really slow. It took quite a while in some of their attacks, and S2 Esports are banking on that fact now. Skyscraper, you know, a much smaller map than Bank. If they can slow down Lycus Empire, you know, without going 1 for 3, then that
Yeah.
echo comes into much more effect.
I was about to say that the condition for that to work is you don't give them a free roam clear. And you know what? With the way they're setting themselves up, focusing a little bit more around the site, it will be harder to find these entries, to find these opening picks, because there's less opportunities for these unforced errors to come through from the side of S2, as Candle, using the breaching charge, getting rid of the first of 4 castle barricades, looking straight into a second one, but now it's upstairs. That's the focus, as Wi-Fi playing around on the top of square, looking for anyone who's just over-peeks this doorway. The Yokai drone, or the drone coming through, should be his signal to come back. He has that support now. Maybe he wants to stick it out. Does he take the fight?
Peeking Skylight with an SMG-11 is bold from Wi-Fi, and it looks like he's going to start to retreat back into Tellers, I think. By the way, another update. Arrow just let me know that Favelas lost map 1 to HK Rebels. 8-7.
Interesting.
So maybe we have another qual where 2 Challenger League teams don't make it. Wow! What a C4! I'm sure that just scared the crap out of Cryptix and hit him in the face. It wasn't able to shoot it out, so Wi-Fi with the one of the most perfectly placed C4s I've seen in quite a while will net his team the opening frag, and what an important one at that. That's the Sledge dead, your only set of nades, and, well, not your main source of software since you have the buck, but it's going to be slightly less efficient now.
Yeah, Sledge obviously being great for that. The reliability and the hammer makes it a little bit easier, but Woos shuts down Wi-Fi, drags back that man count, looking for the second as he's taking a little bit of damage from the castle, forced to play a little bit more cautiously around the pillars, around the bush. Just continuing to wait out the clock, though. You still got the buck above who can assist, who can try to open up some of these angles just to make it a little bit more uncomfortable as Aggro gets a second onto Reverse, who claimed the first was a warm-up, yet to show up here on Bank in the first 3 rounds. That's okay. Sometimes you need to settle in. Woos clearly in the comfort zone, takes down Amp as well. And once again, S2 in a 2 versus 4.
Started off well for S2 Esports, just like that initial round we just saw. Started off with the opening pick, but the rest of the roamers going down with relative ease. Now it's Kino alone, and he's just getting collapsed upon by the members of the attack. Aggro with the final kill, Reverse calling a pause, because clearly S2 need it. I don't know what's been going on in the last couple rounds, but again, the late round is what's punishing them, regardless of how well the early round goes. And even though Reverse said that was his warm-up map, he told me to watch him, see what he's about to do. Currently, all he's done is drop a donut.
You know what, you got to get out of the bakery at some point, and you know, there's no better time than now, right? You're looking after a little bit of a break, sorting something out. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I'm sure it will resolve itself. And now, looking to go back to the top floor once again. Their only round win, coming off of a pretty spectacular play, as that'd be the reason for the pause. There's been a drop from the server, should be able to reconnect pretty swiftly. But looking at this top floor once again, it has to play differently. The attacking lineup from Lycus, no longer bringing that Ying, no longer bringing that Amaru, and obviously that can change with repick. If that comes through again, I'd expect them not to be caught out by it this time. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Never quite know.
Kino has returned. So I think we can get back into the game momentarily, asking for ours, and Wi-Fi with a resounding all caps no. So,
well,
so I guess we'll just have to wait a little bit longer. But I mean, yeah, regarding that CEO office defense, I like the switch from Kino already joining back on the lobby and picking up Warden. Seeing that Ying was such an important part of that attack last go around, the Ying and the Amaru combo, they don't want to get caught off guard by it again. I think if Lycus see that it's a top floor bomb site, maybe they still, I don't think they go for the Amaru again, but maybe they still swap to the Ying. You know, no matter what, even if you're not going for like a surprise play like that, Ying is still a really powerful window op for that site.
Yeah, it's just the mixture of utility between having 2 smokes to cut off these long lines of sight and the Candelas, which you can, with how the charge works, right? You can either roll them very deep in, drop them right on the window, which it's very difficult to contest the gunfight on the swing, but we'll have to see, right? And that it's one of these things that that you just have to wait and find out what the adaptation from Lycus is going to be when they recognize the top floor site. Already liking the change-ups though. I'm expecting Amp to be picking up that castle when things get underway, and if that's the only change, you know what? Warden is the right thing to be bringing, because it just deals with the main problem that they would run into. It just becomes a bit of a question on how the rest of the map plays. Because if you go for a bit more of that stop take, get a bit more control over square, maybe the round is a little different.
Are they saying?
Amp's turning it into Scythe.
We might be paused because Amp is currently turning in an assignment for college.
If that's true, it's amusing.
I mean, hey, he's got his priorities straight, right? Education comes first.
Well,
But
you say that he is currently 3 rounds deep onto map 2.
Yeah, and he's maybe that's why they're losing. Maybe Amp was doing the homework on the side. So we're gonna wait for him to finish up his homework and get good grades and turn in that assignment. We're gonna go to the B stream real quick while we get everything settled. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
Head on in and saves the round for EQ3, putting them on match and map point. They could close out the series here with one well-timed attack.
EQ3. 1 round away from stamping themselves into the round of 8. They've not secured a position yet into SCS Season 7, but they could be one step closer in our long playoffs and qualifier format. EQ3, though, they finished 5-3 in the open qualifiers. Homeland finished 6-2. And EQ3 look like the better team right now. Well, they're the first team to secure match point here on Cafe. They were the first one to secure match point on Bank. Homeland, they need this round desperately, unless they want to go through everything all over again. It is win or go home, and Homeland surely does not want to go home just yet.
Heading to a site we have not seen. Have we seen it yet from Homeland? I don't know if they've gone to the basement. We saw mining twice. We saw the top floor, I think, 3 times, actually. So this might be our first look at Homeland's defenses here on this first floor, and they bring it out at a time where it couldn't be more important that they close this one out. And so EQ3 are going to have to find a way to deal with this Homeland setup that right now seems pretty standard, I would say. You have kind of some solo roam efforts upstairs, and so if EQ3 can find those solo roams and shut them down, they might have a really good shot, or maybe just ignore them entirely, but they could have a really good shot at finding the next round of these qualifiers.
Bakery is completely uncontested in Z, and the rest of the EQ3 attack will flow on through. Zez here is the first line of defense in prep with the shield and protection most likely from their ADSs, but Homeland, they don't have any utility to stop these defenders from, or these attackers rather, from opening up the wall. Haiku will simply stroll on up, begin that process. The Bakery wall opened only a minute into the round, and it's concerning if you're a fan of Homeland. Hopefully vertical control has been made, and Ivan will be able to get that initial pick onto Haiku, so the thermite falls and there's no more breach opportunity made within this round. Z rather with the refrag on Ivan, so we'll take down the Vigil, but Zez now is the next defender to take a little bit of damage. Their deployable shield is gone now, so effectively they are stuck in this position on prep. Z holding this long angle and may be able to find the defender hanging out in co-check. Zach does find Zez, so well, the Jaeger has fallen, and most of Bakery control in that first kitchen bomb site given to the EQ attack.
Raki, Koyan, and Snipey are going to have to save the hopes.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
Yay! Amp is done with his homework. I also, they said he's a chemical engineering student, so yeah, you gotta stay on top of that stuff. So we're gonna go back upstairs. Pretty similar lineup, only Kino is now playing Warden. Oh, it was organic chemistry? Eesh. I do not envy that guy.
That sounds like work. Sounds like a lot of effort.
Oh, have you taken organic chemistry?
No, I haven't. I dropped chemistry, biology when I could.
10 seconds to insertion.
Did a bit of physics afterwards, but like, yeah, it was like A levels. I was like, yeah, I ain't touching chemistry or biology.
Yeah,
very
organic
bad at-
chemistry is like
Heading out to defuse the bomb.
specifically just about the properties and reactions of, well, or organic compounds, right? Which means like stuff with carbon. So it's just like the whole thing is just carbon, and it's really freaking hard.
Yeah,
So-
that sounds difficult. See,
I do not envy AMP.
I do like more like the business side of things. So I like studying economics, and I would say I feel like I'm living every stereotype of like business students doing zero work, just being very dumb. But it's true because it works. So I'm not going to complain.
Oh. Lycus Empire not bringing the Amaru, not bringing the Ying, but instead flexing a Monty into the mist, just like we saw on Skyscraper. He was very successful. And of course, when Amonti's in play and you're attacking top floor, it means you're going to try and take lobby and send it up the main stairs. We'll see if S2 are ready. They've rotated their zombie over towards Banana. He could delay the Monty by sending out Kiba barriers, I think, because the Monty would have to drop the shield and melee it or be supported by one of his teammates. But Wi-Fi eats a lot of damage from one of those windows in lobby.
Well, the MP being thrown out by Ozone just to get these Selmas going, to get this long angle, this long corridor opened on up, and that will deny the position to be played. So they tried to drop a Kiba, but the Selma blowing up as it landed kind of threw that bit of a wrench. Amp getting back into lift, but taking a lot of damage in the meantime is with him. And now Wi-Fi very low, so it becomes a little bit more difficult to challenge as the nade goes sailing on in and collects the kill with grace. And well, now things become a little bit more difficult for S2 as this Monty just continues to force them further and further back.
He'll be dealt some damage, and Kino gets the first kill for his team on the Candle R6, I believe, repelled outside the window, but Wi-Fi is next to hit the floor. I think that was, Reverse trying to come up and support his team, but gets completely caught off guard by a nade. Wi-Fi finished off by the repelling woos, and as the Monty pushes up, Hackrat's gonna get aggressive and wins the fight on the window player. That's huge. No more window pressure for the attack. The C4 wants to come out, but he loses his teammate. He needed Kino to stay up in this situation, especially against a Monty. A 1v1 against a Monty, never a winnable prospect. And Ozone just puts him out of his misery. 3 points now for Lycus Empire.
Yeah, right. When you're so focused on dealing with the other players, the Monty drops that shield, just gets the shots into the side of you, and you can't really afford to turn around because that instantly just lets anyone else that wants to just turn around and collect a free kill. But ultimately, just the good nade work, specifically coming in from Cryptics, just to continuously pick off players trying to get aggressive onto the corner at the top of Spiral Staircase, and it gave a lot of freedom for that Monty to move up uncontested, to be safe from the turns coming in. This position not playable at any point for S2, and Lycus just doing a good job of, as they're taking this control, they're pushing other players up with the Monty to keep it protected, keep it safe. And that just, it just showed why S2 had nowhere to go. They kept being forced further and further back until eventually there's nowhere to run.
S2 Esports again getting really aggressive over towards the front side of that bomb site and
5 seconds to go.
losing their picks. Reverse.
Yep.
0-4. The only player in the lobby yet to find a kill. Maybe the warm-up having the opposite effect. By the way, if you were not watching the B stream, well, Homeland lost. So we're wrong again. Eclectic 3.0, or EQ 3.0 rather, able to get the 2-0 victory and send themselves. Who do they play against? To play against Citizen's Arrest, actually. So neither of the teams that we thought were going to play in that game.
That's all right. As well, Kino gets the pick upstairs, takes down Candle, and the Dokkaebi calls coming in just a little bit too late to capitalize on these roamers, as there's now no one really in a position to push into them. These calls can either be shut down manually or just let to run out while they wait for the rest of Lycus Empire to make a move forwards into them. Aggro is cutting off this rotation through lobby, but has to be careful from the top of this staircase here as well, looking towards the lifts, aware of this double doorway. Amp collects the pick onto Buck, and well, Kino, he's going to find himself a second. Cryptix goes down, and they're shoring up this corridor now, dropping down a castle barricade to keep them safe as, well, okay, Kino's just running rampant on the backside of this attack. Claimed 3 of the 4 kills so far for his team, and Woos dropping that final call, trying to locate anyone he can, trying to grab at least 1 pick back to try and salvage something from this round. But a minute 30 to play. It's going to be a difficult one. The diffuser dropped at the top of square, and the defense know it.
And they're on the hunt still. Oh, just around the corner. Kino lands the shot. 4 kills for the Mozzie. And, I mean, that's pretty much just the story of that round. A roam clear from Lycus. They're pushing into the Mozzie. And Kino just kind of killed everyone. That's what we need to see from Kino. He was a little bit absent last map. Now coming in full force in that round. SU Esports claw themselves within 1 round of a tie game. And with how attacker-sided Bank usually is, 4-2 is pretty normal. SU Esports are still in this game. In fact, if they win this round on open area, I'd say they've won the half.
We got to think back to the last time they played it out. This was another round in which Lycus found themselves in a 4 versus 2 advantage, pushing into site, and it was because they did such a good job of pressuring out these roamers inside of archives. That was where we saw Wi-Fi on the mute, we saw Amp on the castle, trying to hold down square, deny access to this double doorway over by the E-box. And what ends up happening, right, is you see Woos playing at the top, the Buck, the Sledge playing above, just ripping open this floor, made it so difficult for them to stay in this position. And with the look of what's upstairs, you've got Kino on this Oryx, you've got Reverse dropping these Banshees to try and slow down the approach. You have to wonder if it's going to be enough. Opening up some of these longer angles just to add some hesitation to the opening push from Lycus. So far, it's going to be a little bit dangerous. Oh, this could be huge, though, if Packrat can get an opener onto the Sledge.
Oh. No.
Oh,
No, Packrat.
you had the right idea.
I'm so sad. At the very least, Kino is going to keep the hot streak alive. Got the opening pick onto aggro. 5 versus 4 now and looking for another, but falls off the angle just as Cryptic starts to peek in, but re-engages, deals a lot of damage to that Sledge before he backs off, but now feels the pressure from the window behind him, catches Woos in the shoulder, re-aggresses towards the doorway, and Candelar 6 caught lacking. Woos at least able to get the trade, but still a lot of HP off Cryptics and 2 attackers for the price of just an Oryx.
Yeah, you'll take that trade every day of the week. You take down the Yana, you take down Aggro, who is currently the top scoreboard member, the top fragger for Lycus. He's been the one that's doing such a great job at getting them these advantages in rounds and just putting themselves in these positions to win. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to deal with Wi-Fi inside of archives because you don't really have the same kind of manpower to go above to start dislodging them. Also, you've got to be careful of Reverse playing on blue stairs, ready to just lie in bait, lie patiently. If you don't check it, if you don't drone it out, he will happily take any freebies in the back. Cryptix, though, sees the foot of the mute as he pulls away, but doesn't take the shot.
Exercising trigger discipline. Reverse hanging out in top blue, daring Ozone to push through. Packrat still in the site will deal a little bit of damage to that Buck through the hole made by the hard breach charge. Woos lies just above the Malusi, whom he'll drone out. Reverse now falling back downstairs, probably looking to come up Marble, rejoin his team on site, or at least hold the hallway. Cryptic stuck above the hatch, deals some damage to Packrat by shooting him in the back, but can't land the kill. The nade to follow up is not necessary, as Packrat peeks right into Ozone, and now the man count has evened out. 3 attackers still a little bit separated. I think Cryptic's going in to join Ozone as Woos finds himself in Teller's Reverse with his first kill of the match. Finally comes onto Ozone. Cryptic's the next to fall. Woos gets 1, but not the second. Wi-Fi gets the final kill, and S2 tie the half.
Again, it was this push, all starting with the failure to cut pat down Oryx. Kino upstairs, playing this long angle that he'd set up with the express purpose of denying the push into square. And it worked perfectly for them because, look, when you go in for this entry, drone out that long angle. Just check it first. And when you're checking it, have someone on the windows next to him. Right? You can sit on that rappel. In fact, I
Attackers
believe
need to
there was
locate
someone
and defuse as
on
many
the
bombs
rappel
as they can.
just by square instead. Move that across, shuffle it up. When you take these long-range gunfights, you start peppering shots through the windows as well. You try and catch them out early. Maybe you get a trade before things slip away, but losing the Geminis, losing those frag grenades, it becomes a lot harder to clear out positions
Attackers
such
have
as
discovered the
blue.
location of the bomb.
If you have ways of just dropping that utility in, you force these players back, you can start to take the ground a little bit more comfortably. And while Woos was able to kind of make that space, it wasn't until 20 seconds left in the round, at which point, great, you're rotating around. Great, you're going to stab them in the back. You have to get there before the rest of your team dies.
5 seconds to go. Attackers objective.
Callie?
Use a bomb.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's Kino playing her. Okay. I don't know if you know this, Ben. But Kali is one of Kino's favorite operators. I don't know why, but he loves playing her. So I'm excited to see. And there we go. All right, that's why. That's why.
Okay.
Instantly. I don't even know where the hell.
It's just from outside. I think he's just holding the long window.
Oh yeah, okay. Just pre-firing through, gets him through the wall.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay, that's a bit grim.
What a shot. Candle R6 at least with a refrag. Packrat goes down as well. Wi-Fi keeps the man count even. 3 versus 3 already in just 45 seconds. Picking up the pace. S2 making this a fast affair. And now things are starting to slow down. Castle barricades being opened. Utility being used. Trying to get Cryptics more exposed and take out this offsite player.
And one of the advantages of that Kali over the Thatcher is that you do have an explosive rather than an EMP, so it can be used for other bits of utility like these castle barricades as they're just slowly peeling away this extension. They've done it in a lot better timing than Lycus were able to do on their attacks, and now with this control into archives, with these Dokkaebi calls going out, you can take that space. You can start to just drone out and push a little bit deeper in. Cryptic's tight on the doorway, is aware of Kino's positioning, where he's trying to look for this entry in. There's the long angle currently being held, and again, S2, they don't want to overextend themselves. They're playing for every bit of information they can get. Candle, though, gets amped.
In comes the swing. Beautiful shot from Kino. He'll back off as Wi-Fi now moves into the bomb site. Does a little bit of damage to the site player. Tucks himself behind the bomb chassis. Candle R6 doesn't have an angle. He'll have to rotate all the way through square. But they know he's upstairs. They're going to go on the hunt. Take the 1v1 against him. And give themselves the man advantage. Unless... No? Maybe they don't? Or they just want to get a pinch on him. I mean, they have the time to do so. They've got 45 seconds. Here comes Kino. Just on the other side of the doorway, the wall popped open just a bit. Candle R6 with 1 and 2! Oryx comes alive, hiding in stock. Neither of the attackers able to kill him. Great display of gun skill there from Candle R6. And Lycus Empire take the lead.
Well, again, right, despite finding these opening picks, despite getting a wonderful opener for Kino, I mean, headshot through a wall with Kali rifle, fair play. Nothing you can really do to counter that, right? You're just dead. Just this continuation to stall out, and Candle having so many openings on the top floor. This floor just completely blown up so that he can control sight. And S2 didn't make a strong enough effort to open up this space early on. And we saw what happened, right? They were forced to go up above. You can't really get into sight very easily because of these openings. It denies open area. The kitchen, well, he can come down behind you, so you've got to deal with this Oryx eventually. You get a wonderful headshot like that. There's not really much you're going to do about it, but for me, it's just getting that space earlier because it's so pivotal to an open area push. I mean, we saw from Lycus when they were attacking it, when they got that control above, when they got the hatches open up, they could drop into open area pretty comfortably to secure these plants. But now it's going to be the basement for the first time, showing it from Lycus Empire, and they have Candle once again on the roam, clearly showing himself as a very strong gunner, very capable of playing away from the rest of his team, just absorbing time from the attack. They are focused solely on this server for the time being.
A little sad to see Kino now off the Kali, considering just how formidable he is with that sniper rifle. But I'll take the Monty instead, coming out from AMP, S2 Esports, trying something different. And they're up against a Mira roam, not something that you often see at all on Bank, no matter the bomb site. Typically, Mira is just played down on site, both of her Mira windows downstairs, but they've got one in kitchen, watching into square. But S2 Esports, they're not interested in pushing it. Kino will start the fragging off, whether it's with the F2 or with Kali's rifle. He's still a player that you don't want to tussle with. Candle R6, the first to die, but Packrat instantly traded off. The ace now dead thanks to the Mira extension upstairs.
And now, just shots continuing to go through from server. The goal here is to plant on that wall that we just saw Zofia open up, because you can't draw the line of sight from the hatch above. The first Toxic Babe will force AMP to just back up safely. The diffuser dropped, no one yet in a position to come in behind him for the plant, but that's okay. The whole point of getting this control so early on into the round is to bait out this utility, and now Reverse will walk up, has the safety of the Monty standing guard, standing vigilant. Kino watching from above, Wu's trades out though as Wi-Fi falls. That's the Zofia who was playing, who was trying to cover this aggression inside of server. But now if you go to commit to that plant, you need to have Kino playing a little bit closer to support this push through the site itself, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to drop, and this is their signal to go again.
With Packrat dying, you couldn't afford to lose another pick there. Even more damage being done thanks to the gas, and Kino tapped away, finished off by the Goyo, who's now able to flank because he had to come downstairs and join his team. The Monty will try and push up, take the fight, but ADSs? And Cryptix is happy to collect that freebie. Now it's Reverse alone, downstairs carrying the case, and looks the wrong way, gives himself up to Cryptix. And I just don't understand. You know the Mira extension is upstairs. Kino is in the right spot, but you can't be exposing yourselves to the players on site. All you needed to do was have the Monty and the Zoe, and the Iana going for those plant attempts to bait the Toxic Babes. You don't need to be peeking into garage and exposing yourself to that Aruni. There are so many safe spots for you to sit, like prone under that rack, just holding a long angle on the doorway. That's all you need to hold. There's no other opportunity for the defense to shoot. Like, they can't shoot through the Monty. There's no reason to hold them back that far.
And that was ultimately the problem they ran into, right? It was just a little bit of an overextension from two of the players who had that covering role. If Wi-Fi doesn't drop, you still have Kino preventing that flank from the Goyo, which ultimately ended up catching them off. And what can I say? Wu's hitting the shots. Just don't challenge her on that long angle again, especially when he's got that DMR.
Well, 5-3 now for Lycus Empire, S2 Esports. They were able to get overtime last map, but that was also their map pick. Lycus Empire have started off very well on their defensive half here. They'll try to defend top floor on CEO. They've also got that Warden just in case S2 Esports try to get a little tricky with those smokes or yings. Of course, there are none. The Osa instead taking EMPs. We've also got Azami and Castle, so a lot of opportunity to take away that window pressure, and I think Ozone just one-tapped Reverse. So, Nighty Night Sledge, already a first pick for the defense, and AMP unable to find the trade, at least for now. He's really hunting desperately for this player in stock. He'll finally see him, but can't connect enough shots. Ozone lives to waste even more time.
Now just throwing out these magnets, just continuing to soak up, just making sure that there's no way you're going to be able to nade him out. You're going to have to look for a gunfight here and playing it so patiently, while the rest of S2 have this control of square now, but Cryptix, the long angle being drawn by the castle, takes out Kino, the Kali gone. That is the long-range threat, especially on this kind of site, as Aggro lives up to his namesake, gets one, gets a second, swapping onto the SMG as well. Has to be careful of Packrat, who is at the top of square, the last member alive for S2 Esports. It's a 1 versus 5, bro. a 1v5. And,
Yep.
well, there's not really much to do, so it looks like they're going to just sit in the corner. They're going to chat a little bit amongst themselves because you're now looking down match point, series point for Lycus Empire, who, after this, will be 1 round away from moving on into the next round.
Yeah, again, the issues from S2 Esports, not enough map control. You had 2 different players, Amp and Reverse, trying to get a hold onto stock. Ozone was the only guy there covering it. You were unable to find the trade. And if you take stock, well, that makes it so that aggro can't do what it is he just did, swing aggressively out Janitor. So, I don't know. It seems like there's probably just some coordination issues on S2. I mean, that's always expected to come with a sub, but it's not even, not even completely Kino's fault. Seems like the timeout is over, and Packrat will make his move, just trying to pad his stats and get some exit frags. He almost sees a player through that long angle. I don't know if he was actually through a wall. It looked like he could have gotten the spot. A player outside Janitor, aggro, once again, peeking aggressively. And Candelar 6 finishes him off. Flawless round for Lycus Empire to put themselves on map and match point.
Well, 1 more defensive hold will do it, and they're going to go back to open area surely. There's a chance, right, that they throw the 4th map out. They make it their 4-map rotation, but I don't think it's likely, and as we see already, quickly choosing to go back to open area. Once again, Candle on that Oryx for me. This upstairs presence is the biggest obstacle for S2 in this round. They need to deal with it early on in, because yes, they did a good job at clearing out players around archives, getting that space available to them, but it didn't matter. They couldn't actually move into site comfortably because of this upstairs threat, because of Candle lurking above.
Well, Lycus were up 6-3 on Sky, too, lest we forget.
That is true.
S2 did
That is
come
true.
back, and they came back because other people on the roster, namely Reverse and Wi-Fi, started fragging out. They joined Amp. Right now, though, it's kind of just Kino. We need to see more from more of these players, just like we saw in Skyscraper, if they want any hope of pushing this to overtime and to an eventual map 3. Lycus Empire on one of the strongest sites on the map now, open area. S2 Esports looking to clear in through square once again. The Twitch drone will evade the mute jammer, so Kino is able to get some good info into sight. Shootout, I think the jammer on the quad wall as well, so it's free to breach. Yes, you did.
Well, this becomes a little bit easier now, as you can see 2 players stacked up on blue, ready to push on through. The Beepers will give it away that the Yana has taken the space inside a square. It's now in the breach, getting open on up, giving themselves space inside a kitchen. This is the way that you don't need to deal with upstairs, but a lot of damage dealt onto the Yana, cowering behind the castle barricade for a bit of cover, for a bit of a reprieve from the gunfire. Now have to be careful of the player tucked in on your left. They don't check the corner for Ozone. He'll take the first aggro, swiftly falling as Reverse using the E1D2's advantage, but Candle takes him down in exchange, just blow for blow, as these teams continue to go back and forth as Packrat gets on the tally as well. The Dokkaebi calls going on. They will give away the position, but Packrat is injured out. Candle finishes it off and has the diffuser locked upstairs now. Kino has to approach, has to try and recover it, and lands a wonderful shot onto Candle to get the start going. And now 2 versus 2, all players on max HP. So it really just comes down to who can win their ones, as going in through E-Box, have access through the breach. This castle barricade still in play. Gives them a little bit of safety now.
I was really thinking there that Candelar 6 was going to be the big man for Lycus Empire on the site, playing the Oryx like he was on the previous attempt. But in comes the Twitch. They know where Ozone is. 1 versus 2. Woos remains alone in the site with this Aruni DMR, starts to push out towards the main hallway, but the camera is still up. His teammates now watching it. They'll give him calls if necessary. The castle barricade, though, still closed. Looks like S2 Esports are going to have to waste time hammering it open. That will give Woos a bit of time to try and figure out how he wants to play this, and he does find the drone in sight. So now, less info for S2 to work off of. We've got smokes, though. Kino will hide his position thanks to it. He's able to crouch walk behind the bomb chassis. Woos probably hears the plant attempt going down. Wi-Fi is going to need to cover, but he loses the fight. Kino gets the plant down, and he gets up and wins it. The F2 shines for the Twitch, and S2 keep themselves alive.
They did it on Skyscraper. They just need to push that a little bit further for see a map win. 2 more rounds still to overcome Lycus Empire. Another site option opened up for them. Basement or open? Open is the pick. Once again, wanting to run it back. And Candle had a really good opportunity to play the upset role in that round. But Kino landing that shot, coming up square, alleviated all of the pressure above. And well, again, defenders playing too far apart from each other, split by the reinforced wall. And the Dokkaebi call that Wi-Fi had been saving for so long into the round played a massive part in them not needing to waste time on drones, not needing to use other methods to gather that information because you have that sound call going for you to move on in.
I like the operator selection now from Reverse as well. Picking up Jackal. Deciding that, you know, if Lycus Empire are going to have this Oryx running around upstairs, if they're going to have roamers, offsite, and tellers and archives, well, we might as well have that extra information for ourselves, considering how poor the drone work was last round. Amped still sticking on that ace rather than the buck because you need hard breach for this site. So Candle R6 upstairs to the Oryx. Once again, with no support, he has been a difference maker for Lycus here. It's too bad his team couldn't finish out the round just now, like we saw. BP in sight, destroyed by Kino. That's good usage of one of those Twitch drones already.
And that's a bulletproof camera put there as an adaptation to this plant coming through to that late round play from S2 where they dropped the smokes to hide their sneaking in. Already dealt with that problem. So adjustments from Lycus, not as impactful as they might otherwise be, as you're still seeing Candle playing upstairs, playing above, aware of this lobby push, spots out a magnificent drone, but the play from Wi-Fi on these windows, something that they were missing out. On the flip side of things, they're able to get that pick now, and this is big for S2, as you no longer have that problem to worry about, and the calls coming in from the logic bomb, giving Kino an opportunity to move in, gonna drop onto that drone just to make sure, get rid of the proximity alarm, and well, now looking for this gunfight versus Ozone, who's just continuing to play back, playing around this wall, but Reverse has snuck into tellers in the meantime.
Coming around from the backside, gets a kill and through the wall!
Oh,
perfectly
that's disgusting.
played from the Jackal info. Reverse gets 2, and there we go, starting to wake up, but the big player, Kino, raid boss down thanks to Woo's pack rat, an instant refrag. Reverse, a 3rd kill, finally waking up. It took him like 1 and 90% of another map to finally get things going. But S2 bring themselves within 1 point of overtime, just like we saw on Skyscraper.
Look. Credit to them. I don't know if my heart can take this. Right, Lycus Empire on the verge of winning out so many times. If it takes them another overtime to see a map, which, to be completely frank with you, they should have been a little bit more comfortable in taking, right? This is their map pick. This is the map they're supposed to have the confidence in, and they started so well. They 6-3 was the scoreline we were looking down. 6-3 for the 2nd time.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. Do they get nervous? Do they get in their own head? Is there just something going on? Or are S2 just the most clutch team ever? I can't tell which one it is.
It could be both.
It could be both.
It could very well be both.
But now you've given me a 3rd thing to think about.
This Kino Twitch has been deadly. I saw him switch to Sledge for a second. I was like, oh.
15 kills.
I was like, do you really want to do that? Like, are you sure with how he's been playing on the F2? You really want to take that away from him and they'll think better of it? He's back on Twitch. Packrat already in the building, already in bottom square, now climbing the stairs, looking for an early engagement, trying to take the members of Lycus Empire off guard. Windows having been popped open, Wi-Fi playing with the OSA shield. So we've got window presence from S2 once again, setting up both shields on said windows. Nice long angles for Wi-Fi now to play with. S2 Esports, I like the setup. They got Packrat coming in from the back, Wi-Fi on the windows, and the other members coming in from lobby. Reverse starts the fragging off onto Woos, but Ozone was prepared for Packrat. So though you get one kill, now your back pressure is gone.
Yeah, and Woos, that Thorn, already dropped the Razor Blooms, already dropped the shield, so not too much more utility to have, whereas Packrat, those breaching rounds, very helpful at removing these shields, set up the castle barricades that have been set up, and Wi-Fi continuing to use these Talonates to try and find a pick on the window, but ultimately falling to Aggro, who just finds the angle
Holy
from inside
crap.
of Janitor. I mean, he's thread the nail there on that one, and fair play to him, but it alleviates so much pressure as Candle gets reversed, pushing up the staircase. The Razor Bloom goes off. They know Kino is also in this position. He's looking to rotate around Banana. The barricades just preventing him from seeing the prone player on just the other side of the wall, on just the other side of these windows.
Detectors too.
It's gonna give him away. It's gonna give him away, and now they know he's playing in this position. Aggro trying to find the shots. The beeper's going off again. No. And alert them to the rotate, but he doesn't realize the player's playing prone underneath the window. The castle dashing to a new safety point, swapping to that revolver in case the aggression, but Cryptix shuts down Amp, finds the last, and now Kino needs a 1 versus 4 to stay alive. And Lycus Empire, they don't need overtime to do it on their own map pick bank. They take the series 2-0.
So close for S2, but again, the decision making from S2 at the end there. I mean, okay, I get the idea, right? You have Wi-Fi set up on the windows, Packrat come in from behind, while the rest push in from lobby. Why would you not reverse that? Why would you not have the brunt push in from square, pressure Stock and Janitor, and then have Packrat come up late from lobby so he can control the soda hallway, control Trump, get that split pressure on site? It seems like they just made the opposite decision. Plus with Packrat coming up early, deciding to challenge the shield, that was a little bit odd. Wi-Fi not cognizant of the angle that Aggro had all the way from Janitor. Reverse deciding to simply walk up and walk into Trump like he wasn't going to be stopped, and Candle got a freebie. It's the positioning from S2, I think, has been the biggest issue across both maps.
Yeah, it's just been that posturing in the final kind of seconds of these rounds, just looking for these openers. And ultimately, I think Lycus Empire, yes, they had a couple wobbly rounds, but ultimately doing a lot better at just kind of catching players off. You're looking at, I mean, he went ham on Bang, right? And you're seeing some of these replays coming through now, like, there is no way that these make sense. Some of the plays that pulling off Candle, again, like, I don't know, so many strong individual performances, but ultimately too many rounds, like you said, S2 just wobbled, and it cost them time and time again, especially early on.
And
I know.
With S2's loss and Lycus Empire's victory, they move on and they play above the law. Above the law, able to 2-0 average Joe, or average Joes. It was 7-4 on Border, 8-6 on Clubhouse. So that'll be the decider map next. But oh, and we have an updated bracket. Cool. Already. I think Favela's HK Rebels. HK Rebels took map 1. Turbo and Cohen Frijoles are on map 3. Somali Pirates and Big Fans are on map 3 as well. So we still got a bit to wait. But we do have plenty of matches finished so far. Remember, there's only one best of 3 after this, and then Qualifier 1 will be completely over and done with. So LSR will play the winner of Somali Pirates and Big Fans for a spot in SCS, Citizens Arrest, and EQ 3.0. The winner of that will make the league, as well as the winner of Above the Law versus Lycus Empire, and then whoever the hell wins in the final bracket down low. But that's going to do it for Ben and I tonight. We'll have different casters for the next series. I believe it's Fellow and Forceful who's going to try his hand at casting. So hopefully he's just as good at that as he is on the desk. But we're going to go to the B stream and check out map 3 of that Frijoles Turbo & Co. game. So thank you very much for watching. We're going to go to the B stream and we'll be back with your regularly scheduled matches pretty soon.